There you go.
It must be just from this. And what we did on the Monday when you were gone, is we took what you had written out, what was in there and different things. And in the proposed charter now, did you print it out?
Yeah.
Yes,
I read
okay.
what you guys did.
And then some of yours is incorporated in this introduction,
Yep.
some of it went to city council stuff.
Yep.
As I was looking at it this morning, part B has an error, and I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Let me see.
Well, it says notwithstanding subsection B in B, so.
Yeah, so that's wrong,
Well,
and I've
that's
got
an
it in
error.
red to
That's
ask,
an error. I
ask
mean,
you
I don't
guys
know.
where it belongs.
There's a couple other things that I have other than that. like,
Yeah, well, let's start with that then.
So the last sentence, you put the city council may authorize and incur short-term indebtedness. So that's not defined, so that leaves it wide open for, I mean, some people may consider 10 years short-term, other people may consider, it doesn't say 1 year, because if it did, it would say in the current year.
Well, it says at
So,
the end,
When, huh?
it says the very, within the same fiscal year in which it is issued.
Yeah, but you don't want that for,
So what are you, you're proposing that we should
oh, wait a
define?
minute. No, that's not the sentence I was talking about. The one about hazard.
Oh, okay, we talked about that at length. Because according to state statute,
Well, up to 5 years, it does say 5 years, okay. I just read that
Danny, Travis, Mike, if you look at part B, other revenue grants, oh, wait, oh, you're on
out.
there.
You just took my stuff and put it all in one.
And moved it around and, but Danny, if you look at B, Mike and Danny, other revenue grants and the insurance of bonds to meet temporary cash flow or operational needs notwithstanding section, that's not right, B of section 30, that's,
No, because this is B.
this is B.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that was supposed to be? I obviously messed it up.
It might be just a holdover. Let me see.
I think it's section B of section, not section 30. I think that's the issue. I think it was a different section.
Let me just look at something that
I didn't write it on here. Yours?
It might just
You
be a
know what?
holdover.
I might have had it on yours, Charlie.
I don't think so.
No?
No, 'cause I've got mine here.
Oh, it's notwithstanding subsection A, because that's for 5 years, the emergency stuff, so we reordered our bullets.
That's what it was. We reordered things, and
Yeah.
that's what messed it up. So it was supposed to be not of subsection A, no
Yeah.
long-term indebtedness beyond fiscal year shall be incurred unless first approved by the majority of the legal voters voting thereon at a duly warned meeting or an election. Other revenue grants and issues of bonds from the temporary cash flow operational needs notwithstanding section A. Does that make sense? I think you're right.
Do you need that in there? If you have a B, which is obviously different than A, no, I don't know.
If you don't, because A says no long-term indebtedness.
Right,
Um,
so it's,
Fuck those things.
It talks about incurring, you have to go to the voters for it,
yeah,
and this is saying notwithstanding
Okay.
that language.
so it would be just section A
Yeah.
instead of B.
But there's something
Hi, Dennis.
about the way.
We're just reviewing section 30 that we worked on last week.
Okay.
That Charlie was not present for, and he's here now. On the B part, there was an error when we rearranged, I didn't fix the A. So we're on part B, and it should say notwithstanding subsection A. Correct?
Yeah, and you might want to just put notwithstanding subsection A at the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, because it doesn't read very good.
Well, and it still doesn't read quite correctly because so notwithstanding section 8, other revenue grants and issuance of bonds to meet temporary cash flow operational needs, the city may borrow for up to 5 years. Should it be for other revenue? I guess I'm not quite sure what it's actually saying as it's written.
And it's of this, can we just put of this section?
Yes.
Well,
Well, it's not that section, it's the section above.
Yeah, but it's still section 30.
Yeah, it's subsection A of section 30, so.
Notwithstanding subsection A of this section, other revenue grants and the issuance of bonds to meet temporary cash flow or operational needs, the city council. Oh, I see.
that, I
You might
don't,
want to say
I
the
don't
city
really
council may
like that
borrow up to
whole
5 years.
section. I don't really like that whole section, but, because that's giving you the right to do grants and bonds and any temporary cash flow that you want up to 5 years.
In the event of a,
Doesn't
But
read
it's
that.
only for
In the
hazard.
case of an all
Doesn't read that
hazard.
way.
why don't we just start with the last part? In the case of an all hazard event, or in the case of all hazard events, the city council may borrow, comma, for up to 5 years of debt service.
I had that in my original.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just needs to be
You
reorganized.
kind of took it out and threw everything into the 5-year thing.
But it's only for all hazard events.
Yeah, this is,
So,
this.
so why is it other than other revenue grants and issues of bonds?
It's just,
in there?
I think Travis is right. We need to
Yeah.
put the very last part of the sentence first to make it clear. Because Charlie, if you look at the end, it says, in the case of all hazard events.
Yeah, and I don't think we need the other revenue grants and issuance of bonds. It should be, in the case of an all hazard events, the city can borrow, for up to 5 years to meet the temporary cash flow and operational needs of the city.
But you want to put that after the notwithstanding, Jim.
Yeah,
You want that after the
Yeah,
notwithstanding?
notwithstanding subsection A of this section,
yeah.
comma,
that should
in the
be
case of all hazard.
Okay, notwithstanding subsection A of this section, comma, all, and then put, in the case, notwithstanding subsection A of this section, in the case of all hazard events,
The city council may borrow up to 5 years.
and so we take that. The city council may borrow up to 5 years of debt service without a city
How do you
vote.
need to without the city vote?
Well, actually,
Yeah, I
should
think
we
you do.
borrow,
No, because you're
I don't know
notwithstanding.
why you changed it. I'm curious why you changed this wording to this wording. And then threw these in there. But
The notwithstanding language is telling you that you don't have to go to a city vote because subsection A tells you long-term indebtedness, you have to have a vote. This is saying you can have, in the case of all hazard events, you don't need a city vote.
I know, I personally think it ought to be clear, as crystal clear. So if you take that out, it's not crystal clear anymore,
We take what out?
without a city vote.
Well, it is crystal clear because it's notwithstanding A.
Okay, whatever.
Do you need to define all hazard events?
No, we talked
We
about
talked about that last
that.
Monday,
It is
remember?
already defined by state statute.
But you didn't say that that's how you were going to define it.
We can say all hazard events as defined by state statute.
Okay, are we keeping in or out without a city vote?
My vote is in, just makes it clear, that doesn't matter.
Well, then just take the notwithstanding. You don't need it twice.
Because
May
that's
I ask a question, Sharon?
what, sure.
I know I missed a couple meetings and I just want to make sure I understand something. So this is about how much indebtedness the city can have, correct? And I think
This is-
at one point there was a question about like a fiscal year, 12-month period, or running.
Yeah, that's all addressed up, that's all addressed in this now. This is in the
Okay.
case, what we're debating now is if we were to have, an all hazard, some kind of hazardous events that
Oh, right.
unexpected and making sure we are able to accommodate that.
Gotcha, okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Yep. Notwithstanding section 8. Okay, I say, okay, let's just take this out for now.
But let me just throw this at you while you're at it. So then if you leave in the other revenue grants and issuance of bonds, then you're giving it 5 years. I mean, it's just confusing. You're.
We took that out.
you're confused. So where are you gonna put it?
Do we even need to put it?
Which part?
The grants.
The bonds and the grants, and limit that to 1 year, but you're putting no long-term indebtedness. I don't know how we should extend it.
Well, yeah, I don't
That
think,
would probably be included in that.
yeah, this is specifically debt. Revenue, I mean, taking on debt, I guess, is a form of revenue, but grants typically don't need to be paid back. Issuance of bonds would count as debt. I just feel like it doesn't, whether it's a bank loan or a bond or whatever they do, does it matter?
Well, I put in borrowing in anticipation of grants because that, when I wrote it, and in anticipation of the sale of bonds, because sometimes you have to match, the city has to match
Yeah.
a grant.
And we did, that's served in the paragraph before about in anticipation for somewhere. When such indebtedness is incurred in anticipation of the receipt of taxes,
It's taxes.
I mean, I guess we could put taxes and grants, or just turn it into in anticipation of revenue.
That I think is a little too broad. You should know those things are going to get revenue.
Yeah,
But I think anticipation of grants and anticipation of a bond that you've already applied for might need some time for.
Here's my concern about grants. Like the street lights, the traffic signals. There may have been some underlying thing, I'm not an expert on traffic signals, but we had traffic signals up and it looked like they were working just fine. The grant that the city had to put in new ones was a matching grant. So we had to put up money. So what if they apply for a grant that's a matching grant that puts us X number of dollars over for the year? That's a non-voter approved expense there, and you're borrowing in anticipation, yes, you're gonna get
They
grant money.
can't, they can't unless they can pay for it in that year, if you
Yeah.
limit it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
can't borrow in anticipation of grants. The grant, your percentage of the grant, unless you can pay for it within your budget. If you specifically
Okay,
state
and it
that.
does say it's for the short term, 1 year stuff, so, okay.
Yeah, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So that limits them from saying, okay, we're gonna borrow in anticipation of grant for 5 years, but they can't do it
Yeah.
without a city vote unless you allow them to. That's what I thought you were doing by adding other revenue grants and blah, blah, blah in that sentence.
No, I think that
That's
needs
why I
to
had a
come out.
problem.
Yeah, I think that needs to come out.
What does?
The other revenue grants, et cetera.
To meet temporary cash flow. I
Yeah.
mean, that and the hazard thing are totally separate items, so throwing them all in one sentence, I don't.
Took us a while to get to that point, if you guys remember on Monday, that the hazard is separate,
Yeah.
when we were throwing out all the what ifs.
Yeah, but you got it all in there.
And now-
That's why I broke it out in my 5 points here. Not that those 5 points have to stay, that was just for discussion.
Right.
But the reason I broke it out is because those things are particular items.
As it stands now, are we okay with leaving it? We cut out, let's see, where is it? We cut instead of, we just cut out other revenue grants and the insurance of bonds to meet temporary cash flow. Do we
But
keep
we-
that out?
We
So-
have that in the beginning.
So this is what she's amended
I don't know.
to make it bigger.
It's pretty clear.
Because all of these things are all hazard items.
So you can take that last sentence. That sentence is a lot clearer than what we're trying to do. What have you got for a sentence?
Notwithstanding subsection A of this section, in the case of all hazard events as defined by state statute, the city council may borrow for up to 5 years of debt service without a city vote.
I'm okay with that.
You okay with that?
Do we need the section on, to meet temporary cash flow or operational needs? Do we need that?
As like a separate.
Not in there.
Not in there,
Not in
no.
that sentence.
No,
Okay.
in a I mean, but do we need like another, like, do we need like a new C or a D or to keep that?
Well,
Don't you think 5 years covers temporary loans or cash flow? If you can get a 5-year loan, then their cash flow problems are covered for 5 years.
But first, the introductory, the
Yeah.
last sentence says, the city council may authorize and incur short-term indebtedness without voter approval when such indebtedness is incurred in anticipation of receipt of taxes, or is fully repaid within the same fiscal year.
So I think
I think
we're
we're
okay
covered.
there.
And then, I would say, if there's an issue between notwithstanding or city vote, choose one or the other.
You got me, okay.
But because
I'm
they're
okay.
both saying the same thing.
yeah, this whole section in the failed charter was giving them carte blanche to do pretty much
Yeah.
anything they wanted. So that was
Yeah.
that was the #1 item why I voted against it. I think I said that before I left. This part is
You just wrote C into
Yeah.
B.
Yeah.
the only other thing that I threw in there at the end was like borrowing for vehicles and stuff, so we haven't really addressed that. So, and I don't know if the city does borrow when they buy equipment, I assume they do.
We had a very
Sometimes.
lively debate on that.
Oh,
Did
did
you?
we ever?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they ought to be able to buy a police vehicle,
I don't agree with that.
under capital expense,
But
yeah.
it should be part
It
of,
should be part of the budget.
Yeah.
That's the
I
thing.
mean, if you lose one because of an accident or something, insurance is gonna cover
The
it.
insurance will cover
So generally,
it. But what if you
you
have to
already-
buy, what if you have to buy another one?
why would you, well, that's what the debate was.
So we had,
Why wouldn't you budget for it?
the city ends up with 8,000 people instead of 5, and they need 2 more vehicles, and they have to buy
Then they can
2
certainly
vehicles.
budget
You
for
can't put
that.
it, no, you'd have to buy it that year.
You don't have to buy it that year, that's wild that the city
How can you-
suddenly
how
gets
can you-
that, suddenly
how-
doubles in size in 1 year and there's a crazy need for, I mean, that just seems so, not even unlikely, but just,
Well, what about a grader?
again, I think it's something, I can't imagine
That-
a situation where an emergency grader is needed that you couldn't budget for.
So the conversation we had with all these what-ifs was, one, when they start budgeting in their budgets, putting in their budgets, money to cover in anticipation of having to renew, having to replace. If there was all of a sudden, because of an accident, insurance is going to pay. If there is a hurricane or a tornado that comes through, we're covered with that all hazard. We did a lot, well, we did a lot of what-ifs, and we couldn't come up with anything that wasn't covered through all hazard or insurance
I mean,
We're
if
just
there's-
budgeting.
or budgeting.
If there's a need for the use of a grader, the grader breaks down, they're gonna talk to another town. They'll talk to Coventry, they'll talk to Newport Center. All the towns have graders.
At least,
We've done that before, so I'm not worried that the city in the next budget could bring that out to the voters in the budget and ask for that to happen.
You can't do it in a budget, you'd have to do it, you'd have to go to the voters for a
Well,
loan.
you usually have it on the warning. If you're gonna buy.
You'd have to go
it's
to the
always
voters
in
for a
the
loan.
warning.
You
Right.
can't, the budget's for 1 year, so you can't do it for that.
But I think what the conclusion we came to when we met on Monday was that for those kinds of electric purchases, the voters should be involved.
but you can budget in the payments, right? If you're gonna get it that, you can't
No.
budget in payments for it.
No, no, because you can't buy anything that's gonna indebt the city for more than 1 year as a council, because you're not allowed to by this charter, or by most charters. So if you felt the need that you had to buy a piece of equipment for whatever reason in a particular year, this would require you to go to the voters for anything that you would have to have installments on.
Or you could set up a reserve.
Right.
Well,
That's,
ideally, you're gonna have a capital fund, but I don't think we have one.
No, they took everything out of it.
And then maybe that would require them to do that. I'm not dead set on this, I put it in there, first of all, it's in the state statutes. So, these are the state statutes right here, when they can borrow. And one of them is borrowing for state municipal equipment loan for the purchase of fire, emergency, or heavy equipment, so long as the term is 5 years or less. That's in the state statutes. They have some other things. The state gives them a wide berth of what they can borrow money for, which I don't agree with. So state gives them way too much power. But So when I was thinking about what state statutes, they also says in state statutes, borrowing for the purchase of tools, equipment, and materials necessary for constructions, maintenance of highways and bridges, so long as the term is 5 years or less. So that's part of why I put this in here, because that's what the state statute says now. And I got thinking, should we take that out? State statutes also have, so 3 and 4 of the number 30 that I had written is exactly taking out of the state statute.
They budget for tools now, Charlie.
Yeah. Well, some tools, yeah. They should. But that's, I'm just thinking, sometimes you need a vehicle, because when you haven't, it isn't working, you can't buy it because you don't have money in your budget for it.
So you go for an emergency vote to the voters.
Exactly.
That's what they did
Exactly. Well,
with the fire truck.
Well, fire truck's a little different, that's $800,000 or something. We didn't need a fire truck.
Well, it could, I mean, it could include,
They wanted a fire truck, that's the difference.
but it could include any cost, and giving them 5 years, a 5-year loan to buy any vehicle they want, which I think is silly without voter approval.
Well, it should be in your capital fund. I mean, I'm not dead set on this, I'm just telling you, that is what the state statutes is, and if you're not clear, you go to state statutes, it's gonna allow them to do it anyway, so we better make sure we're pretty clear.
Yeah, we either need to, I mean.
We either
could just
address
leave
it-
out, or we need to say no. Definitively no, because if not, it's already there.
I personally,
'Cause
I'm
they're-
in
they're-
favor of it going to a vote. I just think that I think that the voters have a right for big purchases like that, especially given the history, which I hear a lot about. I wasn't here for it, but I hear a lot about what amounts to, as far as I can tell, is like a severe, inadvertent or unintentional misappropriation of funds, right? So I just think for like large purchases, not emergency purchases, but just large purchases that the city thinks it needs to make, I think the voters should be involved. I don't think that that's outrageous.
I'm okay with that, I'm just telling you, state statutes gives them the power to do it. So if you don't want it, you better spell it out in your charter, you don't want it. And we're not really doing that. Because if you're not clear enough in there, then they're gonna default to state statutes. And state statutes allows 9 different situations where they can borrow without voter approval.
But I think we are being clear though, because we're saying that except for the cases that we've outlined, these kinds of things have to go to a vote of a duly warned meeting.
Maybe. Then when
I think in
when
clause,
when I was putting it together, I just thought, but there may be a situation where that really ties their hands for something. Yeah, I know, they can rent it until they get a vote. So I'm okay with that.
yeah, lease,
I'm
rent,
okay with that.
borrow.
I'm okay with
others.
that. I mean, more voter approval for long-term debt, I'm in favor. I just wanted to give it a little bit of leeway, but not as much as what the statutes do.
Can I ask one more what-if question? The way we currently have can I look at this one?
Yeah,
The way we currently have B written,
That's just what has them.
right, but it doesn't, we don't say what they're borrowing money, what they can borrow money for. We just say, if there's an event, you can borrow money for 5 years. They could go buy a Vector truck.
But
Because
it has to be in the case of an all-hazard event, and remember,
that just means an event has happened. It doesn't mean that their spending has to be
it's pretty
for the
clear,
event.
but it's as defined by the state statute. Remember when we looked that up?
Right,
I
right.
think
It
what-
listed all the
I guess,
hazards.
I think I see what Travis is saying, which is that
Does it give them carte blanche to buy anything because there's an event?
it's like, oh, there was a tornado, let's go buy a new
Mhm.
snow blower, you know,
We
or
need
something
we
like
need
that.
to print some documents for the city of Newport. There's so many printers in town. They could go to them for Maydog, whatever, but the mayor has hated this printer and wants a new printer in the office. Well, we had an all hazards event. I need to print some stuff for the city. I'm gonna buy a printer. Yeah, I'm just making something up. Should we define what they can spend the money
Well,
on?
in the original sentence, I did define it. You guys took it out. I put to fund emergency infrastructure and service restoration.
Yeah, we
That
need to
should be
put
there.
that in there, yeah. That way it's at least more clear,
Can we add that right to the end of the sentence?
Yep,
yeah.
And are we
So-
taking out without a city vote?
it's right here.
Okay, so Charlie, in 2, where you talk about borrowing for tools and equipment and all that.
Yeah,
Are you thinking of an all-hazard event there as well?
no, that would give you the right to do that. No, I just put that in.
Well, I'm
I put
thinking-
that in because it was here.
Yeah, but I'm thinking
I thought,
if that's what state statute has, we can write language that says only during an all hazard event can you purchase, or can you borrow for the purchase of tools, equipment, vehicles, and materials necessary for construction, maintenance, or repair of highways, bridges, and then add in, to fund emergency infrastructure or service restoration, something to that effect. If that's what you're trying to get at,
Here's where I'm torn. What Charlie is saying is that they have no way to just take out, I thought that as long as, I don't think that the city should have to go to the voters to say, this police cruiser is at end of life. We have, our policy is we replace them here. And we're just, I thought they could just build in the payments, get the negotiated information from the bank or whoever the lender is and budget that in for next year. People vote on the budget's approved, they go execute their loan. What you're saying is they can't do that. They have to specifically say, we need this, we need this, we need this, and we're gonna borrow to do that.
if when they go out and replace that vehicle, if we have said, if they don't have the money in the budget and they have to borrow the money for 3 years, they cannot do it unless we do, they cannot do that without a vote of the city.
And
That's what I'm saying.
And I
So-
don't think the voters are gonna withhold a grader. But there was some controversy a few years ago about defunding the police. And you might have people vote against the police cruiser, and all of a sudden you've got, you're down 3 cruisers. What do you do if the voters vote against it?
Wait, so, but here's the thing though. So if you're, are you down 3 cruisers because they haven't been maintained? I mean, I don't think asking the voters to vote on whether we need a new police cruiser every 5, I mean, if they're needed, the city can make the case for it, and the voters can decide. I don't think there's gonna be a situation where the voters, even with defunding the police, where the voters say, no police cruisers. But I could also see a situation where the police department, or any department, not just the police, but the fire department or anything, says, there's a vehicle we wanna buy, maybe it's a good deal, maybe we just, we're gonna just buy it, and we don't necessarily need it. And I think this prevents that, or at least gives the voters some say in it. I mean, I'm sure.
Here's a scenario, you have a police cruiser, because when the police department is, I'm sure has a schedule to replace,
Yeah, somewhere in 3 to 5 years.
like the ambulance service.
Yeah,
Okay, every year, we replace one vehicle.
yeah.
But if we've got a vehicle that we weren't gonna replace for another 2 years, and it blows a motor, and the motor's gonna cost you $30,000, and the thing already has 190,000 miles on it, maybe we should move that buying power up, which we can do as an ambulance board, because we don't need to go to the vote of the communities to do it.
But what's wrong
But the
with
city,
going to the vote?
huh?
Well, I mean, what's wrong with having it be a vote though? What's wrong with taking?
Well,
Well,
it's
because it
expensive
would
for
cost you
one thing.
$4,000 to have the vote.
And there's a time limit.
That's what I've always been told, so you're shaking your head, no, what's it cost?
It's
to-
not that expensive.
City
I
limit?
think it's around 1,000, maybe 2,000 now, but not 4.
Okay, so I've been told it's $3,000 to have it.
It seemed to me that to finance any vehicle, you have, or to buy any vehicle, you have choices. One choice is that you can save up by putting money, a third of the cost every year. Is it part of the
In
budget?
your budget, that's the best.
That's
one.
part of the budget.
Exactly.
A third, and then on the 3rd year, you can buy the vehicle
Yeah.
just from, the voter has already approved it because it's been in the budget
Yep.
for 3 years.
Yep.
Or you can have no reserves, which is where we're at right now,
Mhm.
until we start reserving money again.
Yep.
And then you need a loan. But then it seems to me You should come to the voter, just the way you came to the voter for a third over a 3-year period. Now you want to buy it, you have no reserves.
And the voters voted down, so you've got somebody walking down the street and.
Better start saving.
Yeah,
I don't know, I think that we are,
I mean, how much do we want to micromanage what the town can buy when they need a piece of equipment or something? I guess that's.
It's a catch-22. On the one hand, I agree with you fully. If we always have good, prudent people in office that make good decisions, but occasionally you get bad people that make bad decisions.
Yeah,
And-
we sure do. So I mean, I'm not fixed on this, but you want to know why I put it in there? That's why I put it in there. I thought there may be situations.
And at this point, I'm not arguing one way or the other.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm honestly.
But it is in the state statutes and it's word for word what I put in. So it's not like something I made up.
Right.
It's in the state statutes. So if we're not gonna allow that, we better be clear that we're not allowing whatever the state statutes is. That's all.
So can I just add
Sure.
something to this? So, the fact is that, the police department is now budgeting for vehicles for the future. They have committed to not financing vehicles moving forward, so as to avoid interest payments. So I'm just adding that to the conversation. If you go back, I mean, this has been part of the conversation for almost a year now, back in the fall, and there were pretty strict, there had been, and unfortunately I don't know where it is right now in the original charter, about how much total the city could borrow without the public vote. But if you're talking about a hazardous, catastrophic something, I mean, I'm thinking, I'm not talking about, like what you guys have said about if there's a crash in a police car or a piece of equipment gets damaged. We're talking about insurance that can come along and aid in those purchases. But let's say there's a catastrophic failure at the sewer plant, and it's a situation where it's not something that's covered by insurance, but it has to be taken care of, like, immediately. The fact is that you have to warn the votes so far in advance to even have a city vote. So the question is, then how do you manage that timeframe, for something like that? If,
That's
I don't know, it's just the way my head is thinking.
Lori, we had this conversation last week.
Okay.
The sewer plant is its own,
Yeah.
what's the word? Enterprise. It's
And-
not,
okay.
it's not
Right, well,
part of
yes.
this budget, and so
Okay.
it's not part of this,
So it's
this
not
whole
part of
conversation.
this. Okay.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
I guess, has anybody come up with something that would be considered catastrophic, that wouldn't be covered by some sort of insurance that we already have? Is there an example of something catastrophic like that? Because I think that in the budget, for things like a police cruiser or, we're talking, I can't really think of anything other than water and sewer that would be catastrophic.
Mechanical.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying, what happens to us all the time with the ambulance service? Because we replace one ambulance every year. Every once in a while. And we put it in our budget. But every once in a while, we'll get a failure so expensive to repair on one of our ambulances. We cannot go without the ambulance. That we have to buy an ambulance, even though we hadn't budgeted for it. So, because it doesn't make sense. You either gotta put money into a dead horse to fix it, or you go out and buy an ambulance. And so we have that ability. The ambulance service has the ability to do that. What we're doing here with the city, they do not have the ability to do that. That's all. It could be a grader. But when you're talking about something that's $300,000 to replace. Police cruiser is probably not a good example, but a piece of equipment that you need on a daily basis is, like Mike said, you can probably rent it or borrow it from another community. So that was the purpose of this.
There's such a thing as a bridge loan.
I couldn't hear you.
There is a bridge loan which will carry you if you have to, if this happens at the end of the year, you can't do anything else. If it is absolutely necessary. Until the voters approve. They don't
Personally,
approve,
I'd
you
like
don't
to
in the
keep this
budget.
the way we've got it.
But can I ask one more question? What if we did something where it was replacement only? That they could finance, just, let's take number 5, just the police vehicle thing. That the fleet is agreed upon, that, and if something needs to be replaced emergently, then they can act on that. But and you could put some stipulations, like it needs to be, seen by X number of people, and the cost has to be in excess of,
So then,
guardrails could be put in place to make sure if one goes out, and I would never want a situation where someone's calling for help and we might have had somebody closer, but their car's broken down and we're one short, because we're a small department. If we were NYPD, there's plenty of reserve cars and they just throw one on the street. I don't know if we have reserve cars here. Probably a good question for Travis.
No,
Day.
we don't, I don't believe.
but I guess so then who decides the size of the fleet? What's to prevent that body from just any time that they want a new police cruiser expanding the size and saying, oh, the fleet's now 8 cars instead of 7,
Well, I
so.
think the council would decide, and the chief of police would need to bring it before the council and say and make a case for why we need one extra.
Well, but then we
cruiser.
have to
Well,
write all that language.
Again, I don't think we want to be so restrictive that in 20 years from now, or 25 years from now, we're too restrictive.
I'm fine with leaving it the way it is right now. But
Which is
obviously
where,
I'm open.
it's just,
It's
I-
right
I-
here.
doesn't
So-
address.
Charlotte, it's right here.
B now says, notwithstanding section A of this section, in the case of all hazard events as defined by state statute,
Yeah, I've got that.
the city council may borrow for up to 5 years of debt service to fund emergency infrastructure or service restoration.
That's good.
We okay with that? Mike's looking up.
And by
This
leaving
is
it, you
thinking.
mean you're okay with them
Having.
financing what they want, because it's, like you said,
No.
it's in the state statute. We're not, if we don't
Well,
specifically deny it, they can do this.
If that's strange, if that,
In the case of an all hazard event?
No,
What do you
no,
think,
in-
Mike?
In the case
Well,
of,
just, again, I think, can't remember if Travis or Charlie brought it up, but it's, if you're tying it to an all hazard event, does that open the gate up to purchase anything?
No, we're gonna add something to that, didn't
what we did, to fund
to fund emergency infrastructure or service restoration.
emergency infrastructure repair, right?
we? Infrastructure.
That's,
Well,
that
it
could
could
be
be,
anything, that could be a demolish, it could be a,
To be
Well,
a
it's gotta be-
temporary bridge?
Well,
We're not gonna be able to write anything to so ironclad.
No. No.
No, but that's, I mean.
But that's
not adding
specifically-
something to it is.
That's
You-
specifically
you gotta
for a
open up
hazard
the
event,
tractor.
though.
What do you
That's-
recommend?
Well, I think adding some other language in there specific to, infrastructure.
So
What did Charlie have?
here's how.
I had tools,
Emergency infrastructure.
tools,
service
equipment,
restoration.
vehicles necessary.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't read that.
Okay.
But I guess emergency infrastructure replacement, if you needed specific tools and equipment to do that, would all be,
that would be
Covered.
included, wouldn't
it
it?
would all be covered under that. So I
Repair
don't-
or replace.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm okay with that. Yeah. So what we'd be doing by leaving it where it is, if they wanna buy a police car or a grader or something, they're gonna do that.
Dennis, do you have anything you want to add to this?
I'm okay with being more restrictive than less, so.
Just kind of taking this all in, I agree with Charlie, where you should probably put it before the voters. But it's also gonna depend on whatever Mike can find on state statute if there is anything, I also agree with Mike that there are situations where you are gonna get assistance from other towns or villages, like Lowell has been doing when their garage burned down with all their equipment inside. That would be an all hazard type of event. That left them high and dry, but others came to their rescue. Same thing would happen with any town in this area, I'm sure. But as far as going before the voters, yes, I think anything of any great expense should probably go before the voters. And I agree with Charlie on that.
Okay. So we're okay.
So are we okay with keeping this now?
Does, as it is written now, does it actually prevent what you said, Charlie, all the
State
things?
statutes from taking over, I don't know, ask Mike that. The state statutes, I'm not done yet, but they allow it, which is crazy, some of the stuff they allow. So I wanna make sure that whatever we write doesn't, the state statutes don't come in and say, well, we can do this because state statutes allow us to.
So
I
everybody's,
think you can argue that
Dennis, 1 second. Mike's finishing.
Well, so, do you have all hazard events outlined anywhere? I know we've
The
touched
state-
on.
As defined by state statute.
Okay, and some of those would be,
Sorry. I usually shut that off.
So we didn't outline that specifically in the charter we just referenced.
okay, so if you're talking about things of, like tornadoes, hurricanes.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's part of it.
Oh, no. You're gonna have state and federal offices kicking in on that as well. You're not gonna have to rely totally on the voters to help replace any equipment that may be damaged. You've got organizations like FEMA and, other organizations at the state level that are gonna also assist in that. So you can't really say that the voters of the city of Newport are gonna have to handle the all hazard events on their own.
One would hope.
Yeah,
we know how long it takes for FEMA money to come in.
yeah.
You could have that paid off, the piece of equipment paid off by the time you get reimbursed, but
Yeah.
it's still being reimbursed.
Right.
And, yeah.
All right.
I'm just wondering, this is probably more a question for a lawyer, but because we're notwithstanding A, and the state statute says, you know, rules and all of that stuff, up to 5 years that you don't need voter approval. I'm just wondering, by us including, you can you don't have to go for voter approval only in this instance, right, for 5-year indebtedness. I wonder how that would work if the council decided that they were going to buy a police cruiser but not go through voter approval.
And
Do
go
you
back
want
and
it
say,
specifically
we're
said?
allowed to do that by state statutes.
Yeah, but then you could argue, well, wait a minute, your charter only says that you can only do that in an all-hazard event.
Right.
Doesn't give you permission to do it any other time.
Right.
So I don't know if there's any other language that can be included there that says only in the case of all-hazard events. And then maybe we can put that in and then see what
Well, let me just.
because then it really is restricting you to only for 5-year indebtedness all through that process.
or we could add to A, just a second sentence that says, you know, this includes, and just borrowing for tools and borrowing for police cars, and we could basically use A to make sure it's clear that we're not allowing these state statute items. I don't have the full list of state statute. You said there was.
I've got 9 of them, and let me read a couple of them, just so we make sure,
Yeah.
because it's for this section, because it's for spending without a city
You
road.
might have it all in A. Where you,
You might, but you have, for instance, the select board may enter into leases, lease purchase agreements, installment agreements and similar agreements to acquire assets for the municipality, either singularly or as a participant in interlocal contracts. Such agreements, however, must contain a non-appropriation clause that the states, the annual payments must be approved by the voters, so that one's not quite so bad. Borrowing to retire debt, so we just went through this, that $800,000 or whatever the hell we voted on. So this state statute says select board may opt to convert a deficit into a debt by issuing municipal refunding bonds for an amount equaling the deficit by creating a replacement debt which would be paid off over a period of years. It doesn't even limit the amount of years. So in other words, that vote that we had earlier, if the state statutes allow them, if you go into debt, over debt for $800,000, they can just do it. They can just borrow to pay it off, which I'm not real crazy about. So, borrowing for preparation of engineering studies. What is some of the others? I mean, it's just, they allow you to buy property, and there's a bunch of stuff that they allow you to do.
Well, now, wait a second here now.
This is the equipment for 5 years.
No, I know,
Saying,
what is
I mean,
this?
if you're considering
This is-
5 years.
What, I mean, where did you get this?
Vermont leagues and cities and towns.
Okay. Well, I'm
The
just,
question was, when can the
Yeah.
legislative borrow more money without voting?
I guess I'm just
And
confused
it's this
because,
statute that gives them.
right, like, so like I'm looking at like this statute, for
Mhm.
example, this
Yeah.
is just our charter.
I actually,
This is not new.
I think.
This
Yeah.
is not to Newport, this is to.
24?
24 is us.
Yeah, we're 24. So it's like.
24 VSA is statute covers all,
That's a check.
not just Newport, covers
Yeah,
the whole, the whole state.
right, that's, so there's 24 and then there's 24 municipal charities.
Where they approve it is through 24 VSA, but this is for all. I was just a little nervous about all the stuff, the 9 times they allow you.
Can
So
you
they,
read it? Oh, I'm sorry. go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, so they allow those 9 things.
Yeah.
So read A. Are we covered already?
A,
Yeah.
no long-term indebtedness or other obligation extending beyond the fiscal year shall be incurred unless first approved by a majority of the legal voters voting thereon at a duly warned meeting or election.
It seems like that trumps that we've gone beyond that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to put irregardless. That's what I was asking you.
And then that's.
Can they say, but state statutes allow us to do this?
I don't think so.
No,
because,
okay. Well, if they
I mean,
can't,
this
then
is
I'm okay
statute
with it.
too.
And do you say in the next section, the only exception
Right.
Yeah.
to this
Notwithstanding
rule
Is
is?
the hazard.
All
Hazard.
Notwithstanding,
Yeah.
withstanding subsection A of this section. In the case of all hazard events as defined by state statute, the city council may borrow for up to 5 years of debt service to fund emergency infrastructure or service restoration.
You might put somewhere, you were talking about it before, the only exception to the above, as opposed to just notwithstanding.
I don't think you need it.
Okay, if you think it's covered, fine.
I think so A is telling you, you can't go into debt without over past a year,
But,
without voter approval.
and our charter would override state statute, so it would get rid of this, because that's what I want to
Well,
get rid of this.
yeah, I mean, if it's accepted by Montpelier and signed by the governor.
Then that's-
the
then
big
that's a
if,
statute.
big if,
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm okay with
Okay.
it. I just wanted to make sure that we knew, that's what we're trying to get rid of, because that was my biggest pet peeve. Because the way it was written in here, he just went to state statutes, which gives you the right to buy property, all kinds of crap, so if we get rid of that, I'm happy.
Any further questions on 30?
I rest.
Ann, do you have any other comments on 30?
Okay.
Jennifer? Lori? We're gonna move on? Okay, so that's what we worked on Monday. So we just added another hour to all that. That section has truly been analyzed inside out and upside down and backwards and up. Okay, so that brings us now, that was section 30. 31 in our original charter is transitional, nothing to do there.
Yeah.
32, bonds of city officers. Now,
We don't talk about
we talked about this at one point, and in green I have added, we said to consider taking the wording from section 702 of the proposed charter, which I have included in, I put that in there this morning for us to have for conversation. And then as I was playing around with this, I also added a version in green for us to look at. In italics is the original wording.
Well, I'll have that.
Okay, so, here, share with me. The bonds of the city officers, the 702 section,
Right here.
yeah, that's exactly what's up in here.
Yeah.
On an annual basis, all officers and employees from whom bonds are required by law shall give bonds to the city to the satisfaction of the city council for the faithful discharge of their respective trusts. Such bonds shall be given before the officer or employee concerned enters upon, before they enter upon his or her duties. If the city council requires a bond with a fidelity company as surety, the city shall pay the expense therefore. The city manager may contract for one blanket bond to cover all city officers and employees required to furnish the bonds. The city council, in its discretion, may purchase crime insurance either in addition or in lieu of bonds. So what's this? Yeah, and you can have it back at the end if you want.
No, no.
VLCT has what we call it PASIF, Pacific. and
Passive.
Passive.
That's the insurance
Passive.
company.
This is ours,
Passive is the insurance.
is the insurance company.
Yeah,
So we also have this,
right.
and this covers
That's covered under
all
the
sorts.
last sentence, I think.
Yeah,
City council on
Yeah.
discretion may purchase crime insurance. So passive is the insurance part of Vermont Leagues of Cities.
yeah,
Right, that's what everybody has, so,
everybody uses it.
so if you purchase that, it covers everything.
Yeah,
And that's what that last sentence is saying, I believe, right?
It covers everybody for what? Crimes?
Crime.
If they commit crimes? Or does a bond cover them for anything more? I don't know the answer. I don't know, I haven't seen the insurance policy
there-
or the
yeah.
bond policy.
Yeah, there's also an E&O policy, so, directors and officers, so if you make an error or omission, so that you're covered for that also through passive. But that, E&O does not, E&O covers a mistake or an oversight. Crime covers a crime, so you have to have both.
Do you know if we're covered for both?
If you're not, I'd be shocked, but I don't know. Because I haven't seen the thing. Maybe we ought to include errors and omission insurance in here also. I mean, I can't imagine them not having that. As a council member, does anybody know? Do you know, Jennifer, if they have that or not? I can't imagine them not having it.
not having what?
Errors and omissions, which means they can't sue Sharon Perry because you voted yes on something stupid that cost the city a lot of money to do it. You know, or
There's liability,
you're in,
provides liability insurance for employee dishonesty coverage. It has public officials liability.
there you go, that's
It's
it.
got public
So that's
officials
covered.
liability.
So public officials liability is it's error and omission. So they do have that, is that what you're telling me?
That's what,
Can you read it again?
I went down, when I Googled it, It listed it as liability coverage. It provides liability insurance or employee dishonesty coverage. It has public officials liability.
I don't think liability, you have to define what it's for. Errors and omissions or crime.
Well, I didn't write down everything.
Crime is
that-
not covered under public officials liability. That's what I'm saying. It's a separate, it's separate coverage, which they have, right?
I just wrote down the main title and didn't bring it up.
Well, what we're.
I'm on it.
So employee dishonesty is
Thank you
theft,
for the reminder.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's covered.
That's a crime.
Huh?
That's a crime.
That's a crime. That's covered separately. They list it, but it's in there. Public officials liability, and then you've got employee dishonesty and fidelity coverage. So,
It says
that
here,
covers all the stuff we're talking about. If you've got a city manager or somebody that's sliding money or doing something dishonest, that's against your charter, it covers it. But that's criminal, basically. And then you have, separate of that is public officials liability. I'm telling you what it covers. I've written it for 30 some odd years. Public officials liability covers you for errors and omissions. So, we're making a decision that's really discriminatory or, without your attempt to be that, and then they sue the city council for making any decision or failure to make a decision on something that they should have. And public officials liability covers the city for that, for those errors and omissions. is what it covers.
So why weren't we covered when the city failed to notice that they were double counting, as Travis put it, the municipal state, what was it called?
You probably were covered.
No, we didn't sue, and we were told we couldn't sue because we weren't covered. The error of placing that in the wrong place.
That's fiduciary responsibility. It says right there, you have it.
Would that be a suit or a claim?
There-
Claim,
Claim.
and
It's a
then a
claim.
suit if they didn't.
Laura, you
Give
were
us
on
the
that.
money.
Did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say there, I can't remember the exact wording of it, but there is a phrase in there, in the stuff that we have with VLCT that kind of stuff is not covered. It's, yes, it's an oversight. We can't prove whether it was done maliciously or not, but those kind of errors are not covered in, it's unfortunate, but they're not covered with what we have with VLCT. I'd have to go back and look at notes, but that's what we were told.
So I can get a little political on that. I would never have my municipality covered.
You would
by
never what,
by
Charlie?
VLCT anyways.
Do we
All right.
hold the?
VLCT doesn't pay any claims, so.
This is neither here nor there,
But-
but we hold the auditor responsible because they didn't catch it.
No,
The
the auditor's insurance money, the
All right.
auditor's insurance.
Well, again, just to say, yeah, we could hold the auditor responsible, except again, we tell the auditors what to look at, and if they aren't looking specifically at that section, then they can come back and say, well, you didn't tell us to look at that section. So it's like, it's just a bad situation all the way around.
Yeah, so moving forward,
Yeah,
do we keep, for section 32? Do we
32?
just, that's what we're on,
okay.
The green section is a lot more concise.
yeah. And I had help with that one with AI.
I just don't like the city council name.
Shell.
Yeah, but
So that
you
one
don't need
says,
to cover, you need to cover every elected and appointed officer. Or do you go back to the language in blue that are required by law?
I kind of, in green, so the city council may require any elected or appointed official, employee, or other person entrusted with city funds or property to be covered by a fidelity bond, blanket fidelity bond, or comparable insurance coverage in such amounts and upon such terms as the city council determines appropriate.
That's every city worker.
Yeah, so that's kind of. Right now, our charter says treasurer, clerk, constable, tax collector, and superintendent of streets and waterworks.
Well, it doesn't say city manager because we didn't have one.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That was in the city manager part when it was added.
Yeah, but it should be in the charter.
But as it's written, the waterworks person that takes a city truck to go and fix a water meter, he's got city property, so he has to be bonded. He's been entrusted with city property or funds. And I just think that would be overkill on
Yeah.
everybody.
I do too.
Well,
Are
so,
we-
I think the city council shall require any elected, appointed officer, employee, or other person entrusted with city funds or property, from whom bonds are required by law,
Yeah.
be covered by a fidelity bond, blanket fidelity bond. Because I kind of like that language where you're talking about comparable insurance coverage.
Yeah.
So if VLCT's coverage is not comparable to a blanket fidelity bond, then it would require the city to give a fidelity bond that covers, that's comparable.
What does a fidelity bond require?
Question, I don't know. Charlie, do you know?
Well, fidelity bond is basically saying that it's a bond saying you're gonna execute your duties honestly and faithfully and blah, blah, blah,
So it includes crime and
blah. Yeah,
errors, omissions.
for. Yeah, I guess it depends on what type of bond you have. There's a lot of different bonds. This is a fiduciary, what do they say in there?
According to Wikipedia,
Blanket
Blanket
fidelity
fidelity
bond,
bond.
yeah.
a fidelity bond or fidelity guarantee is a form of insurance protection that covers policyholders for losses that they incur as a result of fraudulent acts by specified individuals. It usually insures a business for losses caused by the dishonest acts of its employees. So it says, policies protect from losses of company money, securities, and other property from employees who have a manifest intent to cause the company to sustain a loss, obtain an improper financial benefit, and there are also many other coverage extensions available. So you could also then get other crime insurance policies attached to it, like forgery, burglary, general theft, but those wouldn't be necessarily covered under.
Most
It's
of
criminal, it
faithfully-
protects you from crime that the employee or the officer does.
No errors.
Doesn't say errors, it just says,
Well, that's where the public official's liability and E&O come in, because that's, so we probably ought to add that to the charter.
it would be great to look at that policy to see what you're covered under, you know.
The fidelity one, you know.
No, but I'm saying. we
So,
should
well,
look
what
at the
Lori's
policy.
saying is VLCT doesn't offer that coverage, which doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't offer what kind of coverage?
Well, Lori, what'd you say? Crime coverage?
Whatever it is we have, I wish I could go back and find that information, but it's basically clerical errors. It doesn't cover that kind of
So
stuff.
they don't have.
I mean, that's just
errors.
very simple,
Yeah.
we have to come up with something better, because we can't prove,
That it
we
wasn't
can't
clerical.
prove whether, they were,
Right, so that's
Doing
why
it
there is
maliciously or not.
coverage called errors and omission. usually that's part of the public liability, public officials liability, but if you're saying it's not. So like, the ambulance service again, and I'll just bring that up because I'm on the board, Travis is on the board. I mean, we don't want to be responsible for some decision that maybe we should have made and didn't, not, we just didn't do it. So we have directors and officers liability, which covers all of that, and errors and omissions. I'm surprised the public official liability, somebody probably just didn't push it, because I'm pretty sure that covers it. You want to Google what public official liability covers?
I tried already. So it's dependent on our policy, and our policy, I can't look it up because it's behind it's password protected. Basically, the website for passive is very opaque. You need to read your policy, you would need to be able to log in. But there's, the only thing that their general information says is that passive covers property damage, vehicle accidents, injured employees, general liability, public officials liability, and employment practices liability. But it doesn't expand upon.
So there's a policy that we must have received
And
when we
yeah.
signed up,
Mhm.
and we could read it.
We
And
could
know
read
what
it.
covered.
But I feel like in a way it's neither here nor there, because unless we put the language in the charter.
Well, I was gonna say, so.
The policy
I
could
think we're going down a
change,
rabbit hole again.
you know.
Let's, with the way, if we take 702 from the proposed charter, which is, for all of us on this, it's in blue, are we covering
What Lori was talking about?
what Lori, is that adequate for officers and employees bonds? That's the title.
In blue?
Yeah.
Currently not.
That was 702, that was what the proposal had, no, that's not the original, this is the proposal.
It depends upon what you want coverage for.
Yeah.
The last time we had this issue, we weren't covered for something that we would have thought we were covered for.
Yeah.
So do we want to make sure that next time it occurs, they're covered for it? And that would be in negotiating your insurance policy.
So, now are we looking at another duty of the city council?
I think that's one way to approach it. I think another way to approach it would be to, under bonds, under this clause, to really spell out the types of coverage that the city has to abide by, what the charter demands, basically. So saying like, bonds must include, you know.
So the last line says, the city council in its discretion may purchase crime insurance either in addition or in lieu of bonds.
But only covers you for crime.
Am I right in thinking that there was some contention about this language when the proposed charter was that?
Oh, no, this one,
I
this one
thought-
wasn't really one of the issues, was
Okay.
it, Louise? It wasn't one of the issues that people were having.
I guess I was remembering somebody being upset that last summer, and I was back and forth, I was on my way back to California, so my attention was a little split. But I feel like I thought I remembered somebody having an issue with something about bonded officials.
Yeah, well, because former administration tried to put all the school board members in this category and required everybody be bonded, and the school board was a little upset. That was one of them.
I think there was a concern that no one was bonded. I don't think the city manager was bonded.
I think it was that they were
Jennifer raised
insured. was that, what it was that they were insured, but they weren't bonded. And I think
Yeah.
Rick or somebody was saying, well, it's the same thing, like, cause the insurance covers the bond,
Yeah,
and then there
that
was
was me
some
too,
question.
when I went over, when I read that through, I felt that we were.
So crime insurance will cover, just clear it up a little bit, most everything that a fidelity bond insures you for, right? You've read that.
Mhm.
It's basically any criminal act, or, you know. But that's not simple enough for what the city should have coverage for. I guess that's what I'm getting at. So you might put in here, the city council must,
Or shall.
or shall, yeah, you know, we don't put must, purchase a public official's liability, including errors and omission insurance. And that covers you, because you're gonna also have the crime one in here. So that gives you all the coverage that you need, including the mistake that was made before. You may have to purchase it other than through Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns,
So,
because if their public official's liability doesn't cover errors and omission, I don't know what the hell it covers. That's what it's for. So, when Lori's telling me, they said, well, no, we don't cover that, then you didn't have public official's liability coverage.
Would it be, in case something changes in the insurance landscape in the future, would it be detrimental to be so specific? Should we instead say, may purchase insurance instruments either in addition or in lieu of bonds, that provided they cover and list all the things that,
That'd be fine. I mean, if we're gonna get specific, because this is not gonna protect you from the situation
but don't you
that.
think there's, don't you think that, you don't know what might come up, and there's always gonna be something that, darn it, we're not covered for it? Kinda like your homeowners. Right?
Whatever happens that goes wrong for you personally, that's
Yeah.
not covered.
Yeah,
Well, but there are a lot of options
It
on
always happens.
insurance coverages also.
Yeah.
Not every insurance company offers those coverages, so,
but if
So,
we
you
said,
know, that's the problem.
Okay,
if we said malicious or criminal acts, or negligence, wouldn't negligence in the charter language
one second.
necessitate that you do the error and the E&O policy, right? Because that would fall under negligence, you made a mistake, and that's what I'm saying, is there language that could cover all that to make sure simply, without a long bulleted list, you need things for crimes and negligence, as long as whatever you get, whether it's a bond or an insurance instrument, or multiple insurance instruments, covers that for the people that it's required of, then it's satisfactory.
Dennis?
Here's a question, I'm not too familiar with the setup as to the auditors, but we apparently hired auditors and they made the error. Wouldn't they be covered by their own insurance?
They should be,
If they made an error?
they should be.
They said, good
Okay,
one.
so I guess in this case, I would be asking, why weren't they?
Because nobody pushed the button.
Probably nobody
I guess.
pushed
No, he answered it, I asked him, when he was here.
The auditor?
The auditor, and he said they weren't liable.
Because they weren't told to look there, right?
I'm sorry,
Because they weren't told to look at that specific section.
I don't know why
I
he
don't know.
complained it, but
Okay, but for the sake of our charter, if you, when you,
This was supposed to be
Bringing
an
us
easy
back.
section.
Well, for the sake of our charter, do we want to be specific on what we want for coverages? I guess that's- This is not.
but it's, the way it's written, I'm on the, if the city council requires a bond with a fidelity company as surety. What's that mean?
Requires a bond for crime, basically.
That's what
Fidelity.
surety means?
Well, insurance.
As surety, it says, not and insurance.
As surety
Yeah.
for insurance, okay.
That's
The city shall
surety
pay the
is
expense, okay.
Making you feel good about it, right?
But
Acting
it's
as a
not bad.
surety means taking legal and financial responsibilities for another person's debt, default, or court promise.
They're insuring you.
Okay.
So it does, I mean, above it says, for the faithful discharge of their respective trusts. That's pretty broad.
The only two things mentioned in this bond coverage is fidelity and crime.
Yeah.
There's nothing in here about
So do we add it? Do we want to add it?
failure, you know, to do your job, cost of the city.
What's that called?
There is an omission.
So should that be added? Is that what I'm hearing?
But it should be covered under public officials liability, that's what, I mean, I probably would have pushed it at the time, but I don't know.
City council.
Without seeing their policy, but Lori, you're saying they said under the public officials liability, that wasn't covered. So I don't know what they cover under that, so. But Vermont Leagues and Cities of Town is infamous for not paying crime coverage. For instance, the town of East Charleston came out and broadsided our ambulance with a grader and totaled it. Vermont Leagues and City of Town said, well, we're not responsible for that, we didn't pay it, we had to pay it out of our own insurance.
But that should have been, your insurance company should have gone after pass it.
They
That's
did.
right.
They did, but passive said, no, we're not, we don't pay it.
Yeah, but the insurance company.
The town has, what do they call it? Eminent.
Immunity,
Huh?
immunity.
Yeah, but there's a word for it, yeah.
Well, there's eminent domain, but that has.
No, not eminent domain, that's not the.
Okay, well then in
But
green,
anyways, they
okay.
use that all the time. Town is not liable.
So, can I make a recommendation?
Yeah.
Because I've gone back, gone back to see if I can find my emails, and I do see there was a question in late August, where Rick reached out to the LCT to ask specifically a set of questions that a member of the public had asked. And I can't find the actual response for that. So, it might behoove the committee to just ask Rick what the wording that came back from the LCT was on that. Because I do know that there was a specific response, and they said, yeah, no, we can't cover that. So, and I believe the thought
Sovereign
of
immunity.
going,
Sovereign.
yes, what?
Well, if you have-
Sovereign immunity.
But if you have sovereign immunity, you don't need insurance. So why are they insuring the grader? I mean, we had the issue.
I'm just telling you, it's happened.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's happened at least, being in the insurance business, I've had probably 30 clients that had to pay because the municipality was insured with VLCT, and they claimed they weren't responsible because they had sovereign immunity. It happened at least 30 times, and that's probably what they were talking about here.
You mentioned sovereignty.
So, I insured municipalities, and all of that stuff was covered, but we were more expensive. But we covered stuff.
Okay, can I look at?
I just don't know if we wanna in here, now you're getting my frustrated.
Sorry.
But that's okay. But I said, if we're gonna, are we gonna name it out or not? If we're not, then. we
Okay,
move
well,
on. I don't
okay,
care.
so this, wait.
This doesn't.
How about the, in green, which, watch here. So, the city council may require, and we can clean up the language, Mike, that you were working on, trust of the city funds or property be covered by a fidelity bond, a blanket fidelity bond, or comparable insurance coverage.
It's still crime.
But is that a broader list? The piece that you're asking about is called policy, public officials
Well, let me
liability, right?
tell you, so a fidelity bond
Okay,
covers, they may require a fidelity bond, which is for individuals. A blanket one would cover all
oh,
of them.
that's the difference by putting
That's
that
what blanket
in
means,
there.
it just
Okay,
covers
yep,
all of them.
all right.
It's not more coverage, it's
Just
just
covering all, and
more people are
The
covered. So if
city
you have like
council-
7 buildings, you can have insure each building individual, or you can have blanket building coverage.
okay.
But it doesn't give you more,
So should we add the language in here, something about public officials liability?
I would put public officials liability, including errors and omissions.
Just putting these terms in.
That's what I would put.
Okay, so,
Yeah, I mean,
again, this is
if
just
you want to
according
be covered for what
to
Lori was talking about,
the
that would
internet.
require you to get that covered.
Public officials' liability bonds do not cover errors and omissions in the way insurance does because, and then there's a lot of reasons why. I do think because of that, if we do want it to cover, we're going to need to spell it out.
I think,
But is it possible to get coverages with the E&O?
sure.
Yeah. E&O is insurance, not a bond, but it would be insurance.
I'm just gonna say this one more time. That insurance, the 20 years from now, what they offer, what the products, the people may not have any idea what E&O is. They may have changed the name.
Or
to
just
something
put more
else.
coverages for errors and omission, because that's,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Should we just, instead of specifying the product, should we just say, for crime, negligence, and list the things that the
I don't
coverage
know if
needs to
negligence
cover?
would cover.
But that's an error and omission, right?
But an error and omission is also an error and omission. Like, I get that you're saying error and omission is a policy, and it
Yeah.
is,
But
but
it's
it's
also a
also,
name.
yeah, it's also descriptive of
It's
what it
just
actually is.
describing what activity you want covered.
Okay, then I'm fine with that. I would just-
And generally, it's not always covered errors and omission insurance. It's called public liabilities insurance, but what they're saying is they exclude it in the VLCT policy. I'm sure you can buy it,
So you can put it as a right.
you can put it as a, and if you can't, then you find another insurance.
Okay, so then, can we work on the wording here? Are we not going to take 702? Or are we adding this to 702? Or are we going to use the green wording? What's the wording here that would be best?
I like most of 702, but I do think that we need to add, I am in favor.
Except at the end.
Yeah.
Can we put that at the end?
Well, so
Well,
your first option, right, is a surety bond, right?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And that's in there, right?
But does a
The
surety
fidelity.
bond doesn't, or fidelity bond doesn't cover errors and omissions.
Correct.
So isn't that the place where you want to say you get fidelity bond, which with coverage that includes public officials or liability and errors and omissions, right?
Well, you can't make the bond include that, because the bond is not insurance. It is a form of surety, but it's not.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure if you
I
can
don't
get a
think
bond
we
that
could,
covers that. That's a.
So
I
then you would
don't
have
think
to
so.
be, then you'd have to buy a specific.
Exactly.
So if that's what you want, then you can't just say that the fidelity bond is the
In
only
lieu
thing.
of.
Right.
It can't be in lieu of,
So you
right?
can
I
get that,
agree.
but you also have to include
Yeah,
insurance coverage.
yeah. Yeah, because it says in 702, it says in lieu of.
Yeah.
You
Right.
don't want that in there.
Right.
Where is that say?
Very,
Yeah.
right at the very end.
Okay, so we
You-
don't want that.
You wouldn't
in-
want that in there.
So I'm striking out those words? I'm not striking out, deleting those words?
You could put in, the city council in its discretion may purchase crime insurance, period.
So they don't.
In addition to or something, but not in lieu of.
So they
Because in
don't
lieu
have to
of,
do it.
huh?
So they don't have to do it. Do we want to say that they have to do it, or
Yeah.
do they?
Well,
But-
okay,
but-
we're talking about two different things, though.
Yeah.
As it's written right now, the crime insurance in lieu of the fidelity
In
bonds,
lieu of fidelity.
that is not errors and omissions.
Right.
Errors and omissions is a separate form of insurance that we
Right.
would be requiring them to carry along with the fidelity bond or criminal insurance policy.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Okay, so how are we wording that? Dictate, and I'll type.
Oh, boy, he leaves a hard part.
Yeah.
There he goes again, he's gone again.
I'm gone, I'm leaving.
Let's see.
I'm the one creating this longevity.
The city manager may contract for one blanket bond to cover all city and officers and employees required to furnish bonds. The city council in its discretion may purchase crime insurance to include
No, this would have to be above that, because this isn't gonna be at its discretion. If we're asking them to cover E&O, we're asking them to just always carry E&O insurance. So I think we need to change the language to, I think if we're gonna require E&O, it has to be
Mike, where did you think that needed to go?
Well, I was, when we were looking at the green,
Oh.
I was,
now that I'm.
we need to include the public officials' liability and errors and omissions as part of a bond. So it's not just the bond will cover criminal activities, malicious activities that an official could do, but it doesn't cover the rest of it. So you want, if we're talking about, you want all of that, then it's got to be fidelity bond and insurance. And you can, or you can buy an insurance product that has all of these features in it.
So.
And the error and omission could occur in an employee doing it as well, not just an official. So in other words, they could downstairs put something in the wrong column, and it's only the clerk at the clerk level.
So what if, okay, so what if we looked at the green version
Buck stops with
instead of the
clerk,
blue
or
version?
the treasurer, right?
I'm-
Looking at the green version
You're supposed to
now?
be looking over
Well,
it.
yeah, because I
Good for insurance
think
purposes.
we're having trouble, like what Mike was saying, we're having trouble making, shoehorning what we need to.
Yeah,
into the
so-
version. So if we look at the green version, what if we said the city council, so basically leave it up until, determines appropriate, and then say, in addition, the city council, or whatever, must carry, shall
Acquire.
acquire,
Yeah, I'm putting this in blue just to, in addition,
I don't know if that's allowed verbiage, but yeah, the city council shall acquire
public officials' liability and error and omission coverage.
yes. I think that more than anything else we've discussed, feels like it covers what we've discussed.
I just want to read off a couple of things just because it gives us a couple of other lines of wording to think about. The city council shall maintain such bonds, fidelity coverage, errors and omissions insurance, public official liability insurance, and any other insurance or risk management coverage as it determines to be reasonably necessary to protect the city, its officers, employees, et cetera, and a loss. Or, I thought this was interesting, where it just lists the minimums, because that's what we're talking about. The city shall maintain at a minimum, one, fidelity or crime insurance for its officers, employees, and employees responsible for public funds, public officials' liabilities, and officials' liability and error and omission insurance for elected and appointed officials acting within the scope of their official duties, and such additional insurance or risk management coverage as the city council determines is reasonably necessary to protect the city's financial interests.
Does that include school board members?
Make it whatever we want, but it doesn't say it here.
No, but I'm being devil's advocate here because they're in charge of a huge budget.
Yeah, it should cover that. It says any elected official.
Right.
Yeah.
They're elected.
Elected or appointed.
Yeah.
I like the second one. I don't like the first one, because
Yeah.
I think it's kind
I
of
didn't like
soft.
your first one.
But the second one, I
Yeah.
feel like
Oh, it wasn't.
is much stronger. Who are you stealing it from, Charles?
I'm gonna send it to you, Sharon, so you have it. You can cut and paste whatever you like from it.
It's a AI.
Oh.
Is that Chat GPT or you
That's
got
what I
Genesis or what do you?
I use
what do you
Chat.
use?
Just alternative information.
Yeah.
Could anyone just quickly look up and see what error and omissions policies cover? In other words, what would have to be proven by the company to get money back from the insurance?
Well, I'm sure that varies from,
Pardon?
I'm sure it varies from carrier to carrier, but good question.
So,
You need to really understand what coverage you're gonna get for the price, and is it worth it? Is it worth paying, an astronomical amount for a policy on errors and omissions that you're really not gonna be able to access anyway?
Exactly, that's why in the charter,
But you start putting this in the charter,
you gotta be careful what we add in here, because there are a lot of companies that are a ripoff. Or they say you're getting all of this, but the actual coverage is not adequate.
That's why I like the wording, the third point, such additional insurance or risk management coverage as the city council determines is reasonably necessary.
But they did do that prior, and they weren't covered for the one that Lori started.
I'm gonna put what?
Well, every
I mean,
insurance.
I think currently errors and omission coverage is pretty much available to anybody. I just think VLCT chose not to include it, and I'm not sure they're correct, in their public officials
They
liability.
may have that in there with a certain exception, which we
Right.
fell within.
Right, could be.
That's why
Otherwise,
we could
I don't
look
know
at
what
policy.
public officials liability covers. If it doesn't, I guess it would only cover you for something you did not in error, but, I mean, we're gonna.
I don't think that it necessarily matters for the sake of the charter, because depending on what policy we hold, that's really gonna spell it out. But maybe it is worth looking at our policy just to see the language in it, I don't know.
but it's not what currently have in a policy.
Right.
Well, no,
It's
I
what we're
know.
gonna have
Yeah,
going
what-
forward.
what-
What does that say about errors?
What I
and
worry
omissions?
about is that we put something into the charter.
You can put if available.
Well, it's not just even,
What if it's
but it
not
still
available?
can be available and it's garbage and you're paying.
Yeah.
Garbage and it's really
and you're paying-
expensive.
Yeah.
So,
It's worth, I think, having a conversation with Department of Financial Regulation. They're the ones that regulate insurance, except they don't regulate passive. But they do regulate all the other insurance companies.
Passive got excluded. Trust me, I'm well aware of it. Being on the other end of dealing with passive was a nightmare. And trying to explain to my clients why it wasn't covered.
But I think it would be interesting to understand what policies are out there, and are they worth obtaining or not for a municipality before you put the obligation for the council to have to get that policy.
Yeah.
I can give them a call. To find out. I think it's worth finding out now before we, I mean, this isn't anything we put in here is not written in stone anyway, because it can always be changed.
Right, right.
If we're providing
Why don't we
guidance.
put it in
Yeah.
the way, so we're covering what we'd like to see in
Yeah,
there?
let's get
Yeah,
it
And then
in.
we'll research,
Yeah,
All right, so can we get it in, so we have a starting point here without the 3 different versions I have going?
Well, 4, I just,
You give me another one?
I just, can I read this off to everybody?
Yeah.
It just, this one, like I said, it stays away from it tries to future-proof it by staying away from the insurance, instruments and focusing on the coverage that's needed. So the city, insurance and risk management. The city shall maintain insurance, bonding, or other risk management coverage reasonably sufficient to protect the city against 1, losses arising from fraud, theft, dishonesty, or other criminal acts by officers, employees, or agents entrusted with city property or funds. 2, losses arising from errors, omissions, negligence, or other acts or failures to act by elected and appointed officials, officers, employees, or agents acting within the scope of their official duties. And 3, such other risks and liabilities as the city council determines are reasonably necessary to protect the city's financial interests and ensure the continuity of municipal operations. We can trim that last part down, but that's focusing on, so you could get insurance to do that, you could get bonds to do that, but as long as you sit down with your providers and you look at the list of things you need covered and negotiate that, then whatever they call it tomorrow, it should work, I would think.
I'm gonna throw another, maybe, I mean, that's pretty wordy. but-
It is.
What's the difference between negligence and errors and omissions in terms
It
of?
says both, but.
I know you say
Yeah,
both, but
um,
I'm just, no one's ever used negligence, unfortunately. But I love it, but I just don't know whether or not there's this reason for errors and omissions as opposed to negligence.
It says breach of duty a lot of times, so it's neglect.
It's
Yes.
broader than errors and omissions.
Yeah, a little bit. But let me just read something. So I know what Lori said. Whoever was dealing with VLCT should push the issue. So I'm looking at VLCT's public officials liability. What it covers. Errors and omissions, mistakes in administrative procedures or poor decisions. Saying it's covered, which is what happened down there. Breach of duty, neglect or failure to properly execute your responsibilities. Claims improving wrongful termination, that's always good. Disputes arising from permits, licenses, legal defense costs. But it protects local government entities, their employees, and volunteers from financial loss arising from wrongful acts, errors, or omissions in their official public decision. So, we were covered for that. If that's what that was a mistake, we were covered for it, according to what they say is in their policy. So I just pulled up their policy. And they said,
Is
no,
there
we're
a
not.
statute of limitation on that stuff?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I don't know when this was written, but
Yeah, you know, where are they?
doesn't cover intentional fraud, criminal acts, bodily injury. Which covers under the general liability. So in other words, public officials doesn't cover what general liability covers, because general liability covers it. But it says intentional fraud, criminal acts, it is not covered, so that's why you need the crime coverage also. Because it specifically eliminates that.
Okay,
Did we have both? I don't know.
Well, yeah,
It's funny.
we already had it.
okay,
The
So,
fidelity bond covers it.
so I think the question from what previously happened is why wasn't it covered? And I think that maybe Sharon, you can investigate that a little bit, but I think it's more of, you know, did that go to the city attorney? Was a claim filed with VLCT and denied? And then was that looked at by the city attorney? I mean, the reasoning behind it, and that's all, that's not for us to determine
not for
here.
us, exactly.
I think
Yeah.
if that type of coverage exists, then that's what we want. And then, it's up to the council to get that coverage, and then
So
we have
we
to
put
deal
it
with
in
the
here,
issues.
right, we put it in here, and,
Yeah.
and then it's up to the council to figure out how we're gonna do it. Whether it's through VLCT, or it's through
Whoever, yeah.
another
But-
bond, another.
I guess what I'm getting at is the public officials liability includes that.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Lori, do you know it, well,
And
I'll
the
talk-
fact
we'll
that
talk
they
about
said they didn't cover you for
Right.
that
Yeah,
was
but then
bullshit
that's- yeah,
in my
yeah.
estimation.
And then, but we don't know all the background.
And I don't know
We
who
don't
fought it,
know the
how hard
background,
they
right.
they fought it.
We don't know
you
any of
know,
that,
but-
right?
and
But it's
it's-
for our charter, to keep us covered under the charter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would include public officials liability, which,
Okay, but where are we doing this? How are we doing this?
I don't know.
Well,
I
that's what we
like,
gotta
I
figure
like the
out.
green one, because it's less wordy than all the
Which-
others.
Which
First
green? We
green
have
and the
3 of them
second.
now.
Oh, you have 3 green ones now? I don't know.
There's-
Sometimes 5th graders were easier than this group, let me tell you.
You're acting like me now.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Okay, here we go.
it's
Oh,
infectious.
Sharon, I'm sorry, I have to drop, but I would just say that you might want to just check with Rick on how all that transpired.
Yeah, but, okay,
If
but
we-
But we still gotta put
we
it
gotta,
in.
we gotta get the coverage in the,
Yeah,
in the,
Absolutely.
we gotta
You
get
guys
this
have a
right.
good day. Gotta go.
All right, so Travis has given us 2 versions here.
They're not, they were just for sample language if we wanted. to-
Exactly. So
You
which,
don't have your original green one in
yeah, I
there?
do, right here. So the original green that I started, again, mine was for sake of conversation today as well, begins, the city council shall require any elected or appointed officer, employee, or other person entrusted with city funds or property to be covered by a fidelity bond, blanket fidelity bond, or comparable insurance coverage in such amounts and upon such terms as the city council determines appropriate. That's
Yep.
what we had. That's what we had. Now, what pieces do you want to add in here? I started by saying,
See, I'm good with that sentence you got.
In
I'm
addition-
good with
I
that.
actually am too.
Yeah.
that sentence
No,
there?
keep going, that
Okay.
last sentence.
In addition, the city council shall
I
acquire,
think required.
require, require public officials' liability and error and omission. Okay, I was just putting those words in there. Shall require, dictate, and I'll type.
I think you got it, public officials' liability and errors and omissions insurance.
Shall be covered by the city. That last sentence is good too. So that
Is there
if you're
anything
requiring the
from,
bond, you'll pay
Do we need the crime insurance that's listed there?
Fidelity
I think
is
that's
Because this is
covered
in
under-
addition, that's
So
correct.
the fidelity is,
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
Or compatible insurance coverage, so.
yeah. Yeah.
is there anything from these that, Travis put in here? That's getting really specific.
I'm good with it.
I think that
You
I'm
like
good.
this one?
really covers it.
Short and sweet,
I'm gonna get rid of
covers
these.
everything.
And this is going to replace, 702.
Well,
No, 702's from the
702 is
proposed
nothing,
chart.
it's gonna
It's gonna
replace,
replace what's underneath the
32.
italics.
Yeah.
it's gonna replace 32.
Well, that's what I mean, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But we're not using 702's verbiage
Correct.
anymore.
No,
Okay, that's coming out.
yeah, just delete it, you don't have to strike through it, because it's not ours.
It's not ours
It's
anymore.
finished.
So it's
That section.
this, yeah, what she's changing to blue right now. And then this in italics was the original. Is what's
What
in there
about,
right
what
now.
about the second sentence in 32,
Which is,
which says that if you don't get a bond, then after notice, you're no longer a council person.
Okay, but my problem with that, wait, you're no longer a what?
Well, it says, in case any
That's where
officer
you remove
neglects.
someone from office if they can't be.
Yeah,
bonded.
right, but
You're
it's,
no longer
it's
an
the council's responsibility to get that bondage going, so that to me doesn't make any sense. It's not the employee or the,
not requiring the employee to get it.
they're not doing it, we're doing it.
Well, it sounds
Yeah,
like
like-
back in the day, they
Back in
offered
the
their
day, it
personal
sounds
bond.
like they had
They
to go
did,
for it.
they did have to, yeah.
Well,
bond
there
themselves.
might be occasions when you couldn't get a bond though for a particular employee. Because he had too much of a criminal record, et cetera,
Well,
et
then they
cetera.
would, well, then a background check, they're not gonna
Well,
be hired
but
anyway.
that's,
No, they might get appointed.
Well,
and elected.
didn't you give a?
employee's one thing, elected is different.
Yeah,
The only way that we were able to get rid of
Oh,
our
okay.
clerk and treasurer was to use that provision. That
Okay, so
the
that's-
LCP dropped them from
Okay.
their fidelity bond.
yeah.
And they could not, that person could not get another, bring
That's
it to
the only way,
So we
okay,
need
we
to add
can't
that.
drop, we
In
can't
the
drop that.
event, in
Thank
the
you.
event,
Yeah.
you just add that, in the event,
At the end, before the cost,
huh? No, after, right
At the end, very end?
Right at the very end. You can just put in the event, an individual, one of these individuals cannot,
no.
well, how would
Why
you
don't we
word
just
that?
take it from what's there?
Yeah, what does it
That's a
say?
neglect. If you're saying that the officer did not neglect, cannot be bonded.
Yeah, if
Any
in the
officer,
event that
Should,
an
well, I think you
officer
might wanna say, should
is not eligible
Should
for
any
bonding.
elected or appointed officer, employee, or other person entrusted, I mean, you've gotta repeat all of that again.
We'll put any of the above.
Well,
Can you put
how-
that? No? You wanna put it all in? Okay.
You said it was in your Coventry charter?
We don't, no, we don't have a charter.
Oh,
It was that state statute.
oh.
So
Can you put-
statute requires certain people to be bonded.
Mhm.
And if they can't get a
If
bond,
you go in case of.
the statute does
those
say
people
that,
again,
that you remove. the-
Any, and in case any of those people.
Then, but
are-
you're required, you're still requiring a bond, so you have to pay for it.
Right.
That's the only way, but there's no way that, I think once.
I guess you'd have to say bonded or insured.
Paid out.
Yeah.
Bonded, well, I mean, if they don't, that's funny.
You could put, cannot be bonded as,
No.
cannot be,
Not one insurance company.
Yeah, bonded or insured. after 10 days, if the city, he or she is required to do so, his or her office. Yeah, I really like that just because of what you went through. It's-
Yeah.
They elected a criminal. The town did. Now they're an elected
Well-
officer.
Yeah. Are we adding? I'm just putting back in these numbers.
Kinda.
No, I mean,
It
I would
can't be
say,
exact. It can't be exact.
Well, dictate that, okay.
I would just say the office shall thereupon become vacant.
Yeah,
In any case of the above, any.
I think I would just put should any
Sure.
of the above listed officers,
If any,
yeah.
if,
should.
okay, should.
We don't have any officers listed though, they're all listed. They got rid of.
So should we just say, should any elected or appointed officer, I mean,
Up
That's
here,
what Mike
is
said.
any
You-
elected or
you-
appointed
you-
up,
you
any,
Put all of them in again.
Yeah.
put it all in again?
Yeah, well, you just copy and paste.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you notice you're not the one copying and pasting here.
I told you, I don't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
If I do, shit gets
Oh.
erased.
Yeah, I know, he did that. I had to tell him, Charlie, leave this alone, we want to do it. Okay, so,
When VLCT does its insurance, though, it insures everybody, doesn't it? How did you get them to take one person
They can
off?
exclude somebody.
They
Say,
can
"We'll
exclude
cover
any
everybody
insurance?
Sure.
Except,
Yeah, they can exclude anyone. I mean,
Yeah.
if they have to make a payout on somebody because of embezzlement or
Yeah.
something like
but
that.
that gives you,
Then they're gonna say-
which is great,
Yeah.
because that gave you the out to get rid of. That's, I'm glad you thought about that.
I am,
That's
yeah,
a-
thank you, Mike, that's a good part.
Yeah.
Should any of the elected or appointed official, officers, that should have an S, right? Officers, employees, or other persons entrusted with city funds or property to be covered, let's see,
Required to be covered.
required
Yeah.
to be covered are not eligible for bonding or insurance. He or she,
I think we can just put the
That
office
office,
there.
the office shall thereupon become vacant, period. Right? You know,
Yeah, because we've covered what
how
happens
to
with
fill a
it.
vacancy, yeah.
The city council shall require any elected or appointed official, officer, any employee or other person entrusted with city funds or property to be covered by a fidelity bond, a blanket fidelity bond, or comparable insurance coverage in such amounts and upon such terms as the city council determines appropriate. In addition, the city council shall require public officials' liability and error and omission insurance.
I think you'll put an S on errors.
Errors
Mhm.
and omission insurance. The cost of such coverage shall be paid by the city. Should any of the elected or appointed officers, employees, or other persons entrusted with city funds or property required to be covered are not eligible for bonding or insurance, that office shall thereupon become vacant. Okay,
Perfect,
we happy with that?
I am.
But we're talking more, not just offices, we're talking about.
Yeah, that was one little word that bothered me
technicality.
too.
Individuals,
That office or position,
individuals.
That
well,
position,
you can't make an individual
Yeah,
vacant.
that position, yeah, that position.
Oh, yeah?
Some are.
No, didn't work.
that position shall thereupon become
Big, yep.
Yeah.
vacant. You can do a position, be vacant in position.
Yeah, because what it's saying is that
Yeah,
you can't retain an employee if they can't be bonded.
Right,
For
right.
some reason, if you have an employee that's bonded and then they go to court for something else, the city's made aware, and they just wanna keep them on, their insurance company, they say, well, you knew about it.
Did you have to add that to your bylaws, or was it already in there? It's a state statute.
States that, well, we don't have a charter, so.
You have bylaws, right?
So,
No?
hold on though a minute. You now bond city council.
They're elected.
They're elected.
yeah.
Therefore, they can't, if they can't be bonded, their positions don't become vacant, do they?
Sure they do.
Sure they do.
Okay.
So if you have one
Absolutely.
counselor that something is brought to the attention, they can't, and
Be
they're
bonded.
dropped by the insurance
So,
company. In
okay,
their office, they have to go out.
And acquire it on their own,
Right.
or.
We don't have that in there though.
Yeah, it says that we buy it.
Yeah, yeah, but then there's also a requirement that they need to go out and try to secure a bond or
They
secure
need-
insurance.
But then wouldn't that,
Then when they can't do that, then
but what if they could?
then you're covered,
Then you're covered, so
so
you're
the
alright.
city's still covered.
Yeah. So how would
My
we,
thing is-
how would we do that? Saying that city,
I think another charter has, I think I read this in one of the other municipal charters.
The problem with this is, let's say you have a couple of wrecks in a year, your insurance rate goes way up,
a
right?
couple of what?
A couple of car accidents.
Yeah.
Your insurance rate goes way up. You'll
Yeah.
still find coverage out there, but it'll be exorbitant. What if that person finds coverage and it's exorbitant?
And the
price-
city wants the city to pay for
Then
it.
the city has to pay.
Well,
for it.
then
Like,
what if you just change that?
Yeah, so we need to
That
change
it's
it.
required, that they're required to obtain insurance,
So-
and it's up to them to pay.
Yeah, so in the event that,
Cost of such correction, okay. Should any of the elected or appointed officials, employees, or other persons entrusted with city funds or property required to be covered? I don't think we want that
Are
word
not
"are" there.
eligible,
Are not eligible for bonding or insurance. That person may seek individual bonding or insurance
Yeah.
at
Through the
their
city.
cost,
Yeah.
at their
Through
own
the
cost.
city.
city's
At their own
preferred-
cost,
Through the
yeah.
city's preferred provider, right? If you can't be bonded with the city provider,
Okay, yeah,
then
yeah.
eligible
For
from the
bonding
city.
or insurance through the city, city's
Insurance carrier,
insurance, through the insurance provider.
provider.
well, it may be a bond, is that civil insurance?
Yeah,
Civil insurance?
It
company?
says bonding or insurance,
So,
yeah.
provider.
well, I'm just saying you should be able to just say provider.
She did.
I did.
Okay.
The city's provider.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, that's a good catch too, because then they could go out and find Lloyd's of London that'll insure them for $40,000 and the city has to pay for it.
Don't you think we should say equivalent to?
Yep.
Is the 10-day notice requirement in the state statute, by the way?
I don't know. Probably not.
10 days notice for what? Oh,
10-day
bond.
notice that the council has to give them, is that in
If
the
they
state
can't
statute?
provide it within 10 days. Did we leave that in there?
I haven't done that for.
Yeah, I don't know.
'Cause that-
It's in, I think it must be, because a lot of the other cities have it.
So then, we probably need to give a person 10 days notice to get another bond, or then their position becomes vacated.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta put a time limit in here, I would say, because you don't want it to go on forever. What was it? After 10 days, or within 10 days?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we've added here.
Do you want to hear what the state statute says?
Sure.
Right, it's a long one, buckle up. Before the school directors, constable, road commissioner, collector of taxes, treasurer, assistant treasurer, when appointed by the select board, clerk, and any other office or employee of the town who has authority to receive or disperse town funds, enter upon the duties of their office, the select board shall require each to have crime insurance coverage or give a bond conditioned for the faithful performance of his or her duties. The school directors to the town school district, the other named officers to the town. The treasurer, assistant treasurer, when appointed by the select board, and collector shall also be required to have crime insurance coverage or give a bond to the town school district for like purpose. All such crime insurance coverage or bonds shall be in sufficient sums and with sufficient sureties as prescribed and approved by the select board. If the select board at any time considers the crime insurance coverage or a bond of any such officer or employee to be insufficient, it may require by written order the officer or employee to give an additional bond in such sum as it deems necessary. If an officer or employee so required neglects for 10 days after such request to give such original or additional bond, his or her office shall be vacant. A bond or crime insurance coverage furnished pursuant to the provisions of the section shall not be valid if signed by any other officer of the same municipality as surety thereon.
You can't vouch for everybody.
So we have to give written notice when your insurance company, the city's insurance company, refuses to bond or insure somebody, then you have to give written notice, and within 10 days, the person in question has to get other insurance at his own cost.
But
That's
thinking
pretty
of it,
much
though,
what
I
that
think it's
says.
just,
Yeah.
I
Can I read what that I put in here?
yeah, but I don't think we need, I think it's only elected officers we need. Appointed officers are on the discretion, under the discretion of the council. So the count, and same with employees, right? So if
Well,
the city can
zoning,
get rid of any of that.
Yeah,
We
that,
don't need that. The only,
yeah, but
you
they
don't
still,
need,
yeah, well,
That would create-
if they can't obtain it, that's something the council can say, you're out,
yeah.
yeah.
right?
Except that people aren't gonna know where, that you should go somewhere else to look, so why can't you just put them all in there?
Yeah, but if you're an employee, you may not want them, period, so you know, you can't come under our insurance anymore, you're done. You, with an elected official, that's where the difference is that you can't get rid of you have a recall provision, but that's,
Useless.
well, it might be, right? So then the only way to do it is to make sure that they can get bonded. If they can't get bonded, then the office is vacant. And that's an easier way of moving somebody out that you don't want there. So I think it's just elected officials that you want that provision to.
Well, you appoint city manager, you appoint, so let's say you have a contract with the city manager.
You appoint the public works, city manager.
Yeah, if you could, well, hopefully that would be in your contract too, but you could say,
But Public Works doesn't.
you could say elected or appointed officials and leave it at that, employees.
Yeah, get rid of the employees, but
Yeah.
I think you ought to keep elected or appointed. Because we're gonna be appointing
Right,
treasurer.
but I don't like having the word employee in here.
No, that's what he's saying, you're,
Well, that's at the top though.
yeah, the top part.
You might want
Well, you want your
Those- you might-
employees covered.
covered, right, if they're, especially if they're handling cash or whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's fine at the top,
But,
but at the bottom should any of the elected or appointed officers, and then take out the employees or other persons.
not be able to get a bond.
Right, because-
Because it's not gonna matter. They're,
But it's a long process possibly to get rid of an employee. You have to go through a grievance procedure or whatever. This is automatic. As soon as they can't provide the insurance or the bond, they are gone in 10 days.
yeah, but you don't have to go through too much of a process if it's criminal.
Well, we'll
You
look
can,
at
so
it.
you can suspend employees
Yeah.
pending an investigation or whatever, but for an elected official, you can't really suspend them. I guess you could suspend the city managers, but
Yeah. I'd leave appointed.
yeah, I would, yeah.
But employees, I mean, it's not like Vermont leagues and cities and towns or whoever the insurer is. If somebody hires Joe Blow, they're not gonna, I mean, we may do a background check, I hope, but the insurance company's not going to.
Yeah, they go under a blanket insurance company.
Yeah, but they will for,
Insurance policy.
before they take on a city, they will probably do some checks on the headlines,
Or take other persons under it, you should.
depending how much, and they do a lot of underwriting before they take on a municipality. So they look at when they have to have the public officials liability bonds, who is covered. That's only public officials, it doesn't cover employees.
Well, in the blurb that you read about the state policy, they were all included in that written notice. Weren't the employees included as well? The employees that dealt with financial stuff?
I mean, whether employees is in there, or not, I doubt it's ever gonna come up, but if it does, I guess it's gonna be something really bad.
Well, so can I read how we've got this right now so we can,
Before you do, I think you just need to change are not eligible to not be eligible. Because it says, should any of the elected or appointed officers are not eligible, that doesn't make sense.
Not.
So I think
Yep,
it should
yep.
be not
So
be eligible, I think.
the cost of such coverage should be paid by the city. So then we're adding, should any, is that right? Okay. Should any of the elected or appointed officers entrusted with city funds or property required to be covered not be eligible for bonding or insurance through the city's provider, the individual may seek their own bond or insurance equivalent to the city's policies at their own expense, or that position shall thereupon become vacant.
I think you need more after that.
Such as,
Well, they're given 10 days.
oh, the 10 days
Oh,
thing, yeah, my mistake.
Yeah.
Um,
And they're given written notice that, that the city's policy has failed, has
Maybe we can
refused.
deal with that in the front where it says shall not be eligible.
Should any,
Sharon?
yeah,
This is, I'm just gonna copy it and paste it in there so you can see it. This is
You do it,
from
right.
state statute. So state statute says if any officer or employee so required neglects for 10 days after such a request. Oh, what do you need to talk
They've got
about?
employees in there.
So it includes employees.
They do.
That's what it is.
So they say,
put it back in.
well, if the select board at any time considers the crime insurance coverage or a bond of any such officer or employee to be insufficient and may require by written order, it may require, it's not that it has to, it may require by written order the officer or employee to give an additional bond in such sum as it deems necessary. If an officer or employee so required neglects for 10 days after such request to give such original or additional bond, his or her office shall be vacant. So,
So I can't, and in case,
I'm just gonna pop this all in there so that you can wordsmith it. This obviously isn't the perfect language for this because it's dealing with something a little different. But, because this is dealing with the select board
Yeah,
not
yeah.
considering.
Why couldn't you just put upon written notice, the individual shall seek or can or may, I hate that
Yeah, may.
word, may.
They may just go
upon written
off
notice,
into the sunset, hopefully.
the
The
individual
individual
may
seek
seek their own
one
bond or insurance equivalent to the city's
at
policies
their own expense.
at their own expense. Or, now where do you put in the 10 days?
Yeah, so then I think there we go, if
After-
the individual so required neglects for 10 days,
So, where are
Upon written notice,
we? Upon written notice, within 10 days, the individual may seek. Did that cover it?
I don't think neglect might be the word you want to use, just if he doesn't.
what about just simple, those not be eligible, upon written notice, within 10 days, the individual may seek their own bond or insurance, you put da-da-da-da.
It's not,
It's not.
but it's not, you're making it contingent on seeking. So I can go out and I can look and say, well, I can't get it, but you're not telling me.
Okay,
So I've looked, but you still gotta keep
The
it out.
individual within 10 days, not the written notice within 10 days.
so take the written notice out here.
So put it after the individual. That makes sense?
Okay. Upon written notice, the individual,
Now put the 10 days.
the individual
Within 10
within
days.
10 days may seek, oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
May purchase instead of seek.
obtain.
Obtain, I like obtain better. It's that word seek that's the problem, right?
Yeah. Obtain.
Obtain. In other words, they
But
gotta
that's
be
what
able
you're
to purchase
requiring them
it.
to obtain it, right? How's that flow? Was it
Should any of the elected or appointed officials entrusted with city funds or property required to be covered
Oh, yeah,
not
I
be
just put it
eligible
in
for
for-
bonding or insurance through the city's provider?
Was you?
Upon written notice, the individual within 10 days may obtain their own bond or insurance equivalent to the city's policies at their own expense, or that position shall thereupon become vacant.
Should be obtain and submit, because they gotta get it, and then, because the council will need to verify that it's legitimate, right?
Obtain and submit their own bond or insurance equivalent to the city's policies at their, I like that. Does that cover us?
I'm waiting
I'm happy.
for Mike to weigh in, but I'm fine with it.
I think you might want to say what the written notice has to say. On written notice of non-coverage,
Non-eligibility,
Yeah,
of
or some, whatever
non-eligibility.
you want to
Yeah.
call it.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think after you have entrusted with city funds or property required to be covered. So should any of the elected or appointed officers, and I think we want to add the employees back in
Employees.
there. Seems that statute has that too.
Or employees,
Employees or other persons entrusted.
okay?
If we, just a question, but do we need to have entrusted with city funds or property if we have required to be covered? Because we've already established above that they are required.
Yeah,
Because,
but we've already established
Yeah.
above too that it's elected officials,
It's all
appointed
the same
officials,
people.
employed. It's just,
That's why I suggested,
Well, I'm just saying, do we need
if
to
any
say
of the
that?
above, and you didn't like that
Do
too
we
much.
need to say that and required to be covered?
Yeah,
yeah, because they're the ones that are required to be covered. It may not be all city employees that are required to be covered. It may not be all appointed officials that are required to be covered.
But
So
we
have
already say
written notice,
entrusted
we
with
have
city
the time
funds or
limit
property.
within 10 days. We have that they have to obtain and submit. I
Yeah,
kind of
but-
like this, guys. I think we're
I'm
getting
good.
thrown
If
away
you-
with some semantics
If
that
all
may
you're saying that,
get
and
changed
you're
by
saying
the
below,
lawyer
if you
anyway.
want to add that back in, it would be all city
Okay.
and public officials appointed.
I'm good. We good with this?
So after all of that, we come to the covered comma, found not to be eligible for bonding.
not found not to be,
Yeah,
found not, that's better, to be eligible for bonding or insurance through the city's provider.
and upon written notice of non-eligibility.
I think, I hate to get caught in
And
the semantics, but I
upon
think-
written notice of non-eligibility.
Should it be, should any of the elected or appointed officers, et cetera, be found ineligible?
Yeah.
Instead of found
Sure.
not to be eligible?
Okay, say that again.
Be found
Well,
ineligible?
put it, feel free to add it in,
Okay.
or feel free to correct or change it.
Yeah, that's
You're far
fine.
better
Yeah.
at this than I am.
That's fine.
Okay.
We do it?
All good?
We did it?
All right. Mike, can I delete this now?
Dennis, did you want to say something and I was ignoring you? I'm sorry.
So, I
Wait,
think,
can we get rid of that you had put in?
Mike's just reviewing it.
Oh.
I asked him, he said just to give him a second. But while he's doing that, can I just move that we take the break that we decided on taking?
Yeah.
Last time? Perfect. All right.
We're almost done, okay.
What break is that?
Danny needed, well, we went till noon,
Oh,
and poor
okay.
Danny needed to get up and stretch.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we
So
decided.
can we
that
just
we're-
take like a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Well, keep the.
5 or 10, I'm gonna go grab coffee, I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay.
Mike, are you okay? Is there anything in what she has here that we need? Can we get rid of that?
Just. It's the neglect piece,
Neglect?
well, that's in statute, if an officer or employee that's required neglects for 10 days.
After so
Just one.
neglect for 10 days. The way it's in our current, after 10 days. I think it's.
What about just does not require?
There's no say that.
Maybe-
They have to obtain and submit. That's what it says.
It's not may, it's shall,
Huh?
right?
Well, not really, because they could say, okay, I'm done.
Right, but they
Oh.
shall, if they want to stay on, then they have to provide that.
Instead of
Not
may.
that they may. So.
Shall.
Yeah,
shall
they can just
obtain and
say-
submit
Yeah.
their
They
own
can just say, I'm not
bonds
gonna do that.
Yeah,
To the
okay.
city at their own
Because the
expense.
10 days, they're.
Yeah, or, yeah, so
Yeah.
that's,
So they either shall or they're done.
yeah.
Yeah. So they're either done.
I've never
they're-
known
they're
2
either-
words, we could, if
Right.
we're
That's,
taking a
those
break,
are,
we can.
those are the two
Yeah.
main
We can
words.
pause.
Yeah, because they're either done on their own or they're done after.
Yeah, sure.
Still on.
Yeah. Charlie, pause it, we're taking a break. I've never learned that 2 words
Pause.
could have such power
Is there a
as
pause?
those 2 words.
Is there a pause button?
I need a knife to cut one.
Oh, just tear it. Just take the whole thing and bring it apart home if you want.
I don't think there's a pause button on this.
Just stop it then. That's what we do for council meetings when we go into executive session, we just, yeah.
It's like,
Okay, so the bonding, is there anything more on section 32? We're back, Dennis.
Okay,
Okay, so is
hope
there,
you enjoyed your coffee and donuts.
yeah, yeah, you're missing out on my rhubarb muffins.
yeah, they're really good too.
Well, yeah, but I've got donuts here for the client.
Oh.
The only thing I'm missing is Newport's best coffee, and that's down at Jimmy Cliff, so.
Oh. Okay, getting back to 32, are we okay with how this reads now? Mike, is there anything else you're thinking we ought to? Okay, so
Okay.
moving
Good.
on.
Yeah.
How do you know, my goodness? 33 stays the same, it was a transitional something or other. 34, pledge of credit. I made the note as I was looking this over, should this go under the city council duties? Or did we already even include it under city council duties? And I see you already X'd it out.
I think it's handled in section 30 and city council duties.
Okay, so you think it's handled with city council duties and section 30. So let's just take a second to look this over. Whenever the legal voters of the city shall give authority to the council thereof to pledge the credit of the city for any purpose, the city shall have power and authority to issue its negotiable orders, warrants, notes, or bonds, and to prescribe whether such bonds shall be registered or have interest coupons attached to the amount not to exceed the limit prescribed by law for which the legal voters aforesaid, what a word, shall have given authority to so pledge the credit of the city. Such notes or bonds shall be payable at such time and at such rate of interest as shall be established by said voters, or if no time or rate of interest is fixed thereby, the same shall be established by resolution of said council. Isn't that already what 30 is all about?
Well, it's giving, this gives the council, if it's approved, it gives the council the permission to do it.
The city was able to do their own bonds. Now you use the municipal
Yeah.
bond bank.
Yeah.
So in effect, this is probably totally null and void.
Yeah, that's what I haven't crossed
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have been putting, whenever we get rid of something, I try to put in here why. So when we present this to the community,
It should be covered by the municipal bond bank. And I think that Rick should be able to clearly answer that question. Because it, I believe, was addressed recently.
so this is covered by the municipal bond bank,
Yeah.
therefore no longer needed.
It wasn't addressed in the proposal.
I
I'm
know.
looking at the
I
cross.
looked at that myself too.
Because the cross-section of the old charter says bonds issuance of section 33, 34.
Okay, so I am going to put this in purple, because purple is our explanations, and I'm gonna strike through. Oh, wow.
Then you can just put repeal or something, and the pledge of credit repeal,
Say that again, Mike?
just with pledge of credit, and then you can use whatever color you want, but you can just put repeal on that, along with your strike throughs.
How many colors we have now?
I keep adding.
There you go.
Okay,
Yep.
is that okay?
Sure.
35, we do nothing, 36, 37. Last Monday, we agreed we could strike out 38, no
Yeah.
longer applicable.
Just put repeal on that too.
Put repeal on those. Okay. Now that brings us to our next to the last one.
No, it is the last one.
No, 39.
We already did 40. That's
Yeah,
a
but we
city
have a
manager.
41.
We do?
Let's go look at 41 before we pass into school. 41, city council election of city officers. And this is me saying, I'm not sure we need this section. Can it be incorporated into the duties of the city council?
Where did you stick to, I'm sorry?
On 41.
41. We decided to cover 39 last.
Oh, okay.
Unless we want, that's where Pam was talking about term limits.
No,
If-
I think
if we
what
wanted
this
to do
provides for is for so if you had during your yearly election in March, if
But we're not electing a clerk, or a treasurer, or a constable, or listers, or auditors. And Travis, you looked into the city grand jurors and
She hasn't gotten back to me,
Okay.
but she said
Keep it.
essentially,
Most everybody has eliminated grand juries, but I know we talked about
Yeah,
that.
still just trying to understand what this means.
I'm trying to,
And
I
the city
don't
so
understand
votes,
it.
so is that the city, is that, if there's no one that's elected, then the council would appoint?
Jennifer, did you want to add something to that?
It is, if you go to appointment, you can't elect, so it is, there should be a point, but I stopped because of the elected clerk treasurer. It's what we used when we ended up getting rid of, I think, the listers.
We don't have auditors anymore either, right?
No.
Similar thing, but the
No.
auditors are replaced by a firm.
But there's, under city council, there's a section for appointments, right?
Yeah.
So if someone is not elected to a position during the annual meeting, then the council can appoint,
Yeah.
or the citizens by petition can ask for a vote, but if there's no candidate for a position, then the council can appoint.
Are we already
There
told?
were no grand jurors elected in the last election.
Right.
So far.
I think
I'm
Lori
looking.
And we also have
mentioned
the
that
city
that
school board,
happened a
same
couple
thing.
years ago, and then they needed them, and they just appointed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think she and somebody else were actually appointed.
Well, it refers back to 6. Annual meeting shall elect among the legal voters, mayor, city clerk, alderman, city treasurer, constable, 3 listers, 3 auditors, 3 grand jurors, overseer of the court, and struck.
We got rid of all of this in 6.
Yes,
I thought
I think
what
we-
6 was saying, when I read 6, I thought it was saying that currently we recognize that all of those people were going to be elected by the people. But if there was a vote put before the people that said, do you want to have them elected, or do you want to appoint them? And the city voters said, you can appoint them, we don't care about electing them. Then the council had the right to elect, but it's really appoint
Yeah.
those people.
And
So it was a
that-
switch.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what it
But for the
says.
term
Yeah,
that they're, and not just till the next
Yeah.
election,
But
right?
isn't
It's-
that 6C?
no, well, this, I don't know what 6C is, but the council, if the voters vote, the council can appoint those
Yeah.
positions.
Yeah.
But they have
Yeah.
to, do it.
You'd have to have it in the morning after you
Yeah.
voted on it.
I-
Otherwise, they're elected. The
I
elected
think
position
most of
becomes
this
appointed.
is mute because we don't have. So this is giving the council, if the city so votes, it gives the council the right to elect. Clerk, treasurer, constable, we've already list their auditor, grand jury.
Change it by charter already.
We've already changed all
Changed it by
that.
charter.
We've already changed that already. So none of this applies, in my opinion.
And then when you
Because
look
we've
back at,
eliminated all those positions.
and then we have, when we, in our rewrite, or our updating of 6C, we say the city council may appoint an eligible person to fill a vacancy in an elected city office, including the board of school trustees, until the next annual meeting. If the vacancy occurs with more than 1/2 of the time remaining before the next annual meeting, a special city meeting to fill the vacancy may be called upon petition of 25 registered voters, and the city council's appointee shall serve until a successor is elected at such special meeting or at the next annual meeting, whichever occurs first. So we have gone even further than that one, right?
I think we strike this and say, for a reason, it's covered in section 6,
Yeah.
and repeal,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Could you put repeal? Does that make sense? Because it doesn't, there's no use for this. But if you want to explain it, it was, because it was, all of that was covered in 6. It was part of 6. Everybody good with that?
Feel covered in.
I'm sorry, I was reading another section.
You getting ahead of us?
No, I was trying to figure out exactly what the grand jurors do, and I realized when I read it that I'd read that before. And to me, it makes no sense. They investigate and prosecute city ordinance violations.
Yeah, and
Which
we
they
haven't,
don't.
Every
But
community,
I'm trying to think of why she said that it's essential we need them.
well, I think that we're gonna end up getting rid of it.
I think we should have every other.
Okay, that is the end of the charter. Now we go back and we've got to deal with 39. Now, much of what's in 39, public schools and school property, is antique and needs to come. But I have to say that, so we met with the city school board, not school board, with the chairman of the board, Mary Ellen McClure, principal Aaron Larson, and superintendent of schools Elaine Collins. They asked to meet with us because they were concerned about being bonded, because they had never been required to be bonded before, yet in past administration, it was required of them. So that was one issue. They wanted to know if that was in fact going to have to happen, continue to happen. And 2, we got into a conversation about the ownership of the school. And 3, we talked about the fact they are down a board member and haven't done much to seek one. They also are not meeting in August and will be meeting again in September, and their first meeting is a retreat.
Paid for by us.
So, anyway, that was the conversation. Now, when my,
But let's take one of those issues at a time. As far as the bonding, they should be covered by our insurance policy.
because that's the way it reads now, with what we just barely did.
Yeah, all
Except
elected
if-
officials, right?
But it
All
ought to be,
elected.
it ought to be spelled out in the policy.
Except if the United School whatever covers them,
The supervisor.
Supervisory
Supervisory.
union, yeah, which it probably does.
I don't know.
But we're talking about the elementary school. We don't own the high
Yeah,
school.
elementary school.
Yeah, but they're
Not the
still.
high
They're still part
Yeah,
of
but
the
they're still part of the
supervisory.
issue.
Yeah, I don't know what's covered in there either.
I don't know.
So that's a question to ask what the supervisory board
Because
is.
they're telling us that they had to be bonded by, so was it Linda that required? them to
Linda
be
required
bonded?
it.
Who required it?
Linda.
Mrs. Sullivan.
I'm sorry,
Linda,
Linda Sullivan.
required us to bond the school board.
the school board to bond themselves, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
There's quite a concern.
Who's Linda Sullivan?
She was former mayor.
Right before Rick.
Before that.
Okay, so school board members.
But we don't know why.
Well, why?
It was an
Because the school
interpretation.
trustees shall give such bond to the city at the expense of the city,
Well, that's the part.
as
it-
the
it
city
seems-
council shall demand and approve for faithful discharge.
But she
in the
was
old
asking
charter.
them to pay it.
I don't know.
I don't know about any of
Making
that.
sure they
Okay.
got bonded.
Okay.
I don't know who was supposed to
I
pay.
see. I
But
guess
she
what I
didn't
was
get-
hearing was
Huh?
that.
But she didn't believe that passive insurance covered a bond.
And they felt they were already covered.
Yeah.
They felt they were already
And
covered.
they may be, so maybe we ought to find out from the supervisory union whether they cover school board members from each community. I'd be surprised if they do.
They're eligible for passive too, I think.
I believe so. School, I think so.
They were what, Mike?
They're, I think, the
Passive.
SAT passive
They,
covers.
they do
schools.
school insurance too. I believe that's true. It's separate.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, wrong one.
but it should be determined that who covers that, is
It
it?
should be in the charter, in this section.
Yeah,
I agree.
but,
Yeah.
you know, should the bonding be covered by the supervisory union or the school district, or is it covered by the city? Because could be paying passive twice, right?
Yeah,
But it's,
yeah, I
maybe
don't
they're
know.
blanket policies. but-
Yeah, I don't know how they're covered now. I've never really done too much with the school board. but-
And I don't know that that would change.
And do you know if they follow our rules about how the trustees are elected for a term of 3 years? Or is that, all those rules, are they now in with the supervisory union? What a school trustee board looks like? How many of them there are, how they get elected? Do they have their own rules?
They fall into the city.
They
fall
follow.
into-
I'm
in
pretty
the
sure
city
it's
charter.
this, and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But now, here's the thing, so this was taken out of the proposed charter, all the school stuff was taken out, because it is now defined by the state,
State statute, yeah.
by state statute.
Yeah.
Some towns within Vermont still keep a section of their charter about their schools.
Yeah. And others don't.
Some do not,
I think
just
we-
like everything.
I think we should.
One of them, if there's a vacancy, the mayor provides the name to the school board, and then the school board approves or denies, and they keep rolling on until they find somebody.
Until they find
that everybody
someone.
better. And then there's,
Ours gives us permission to appoint,
Yes,
which I had to do back when I was mayor,
yeah,
because nobody runs.
well, it
for
used
those-
to be that,
Nobody runs for those
it
positions.
used to be that select boards or city boards would appoint all the officers, including school
Mhm.
directors. And that changed in the legislature a few years ago.
So currently, we have 3 of the 5 board members. It's been that way for how long?
Oh, about a year.
And they,
No, 4.
They're
You're
not-
down 1 member.
they're down,
Is it
I thought
up?
they were down 2.
Down 1 member, and they're going to be down another member at election.
Is it up to them to try to find someone?
No.
Or is it up to the city
Well,
to try?
they
to find
thought it was up to them, but if you read the charter, it's up to us. Currently, there's a vacancy, right?
But it sounds like no one's up,
No
or,
one's done.
or is anyone out there scouring to try to find?
I gave them a couple of names.
So, the, probably unsurprisingly, state statute does cover this, specifically about bonding. Before a newly elected board member enters upon the duties of office, the district shall ensure that the district's blanket bond, so the district's, not the cities, the district's blanket bond covers the new member. In lieu of a blanket bond, the district may choose to provide suitable crime insurance coverage.
But that's
That's a supervisor.
that's outside.
Yeah, I don't think that's, I
Outside
think
the
the
charter?
supervisory, that's why they,
Yeah, it's outside the charter.
Charter.
So, but I'm assuming they have a blanket policy because not. I mean, I think Newport's the only charter.
We could simply require it in section 39, and how they get it doesn't really matter. If it's covered by the supervisor of the district, then that's great, they're covered.
Yeah,
So we
let's-
just require
Let's say
that
the
they're-
district at some point decides, okay, you're all in. So you could require it, but it doesn't require it.
well, first of all, are we in agreement that we should keep 39
Of some sect.
of some
sort,
section? And here's why I feel we should,
Yeah,
is because we're all on the same team.
yeah.
And your community's only as strong as your hospitals and your schools are to support your community, in my opinion. They have a huge budget,
They got them this city.
and I think that we all need to be on the same team, and that we need to have, help each other out, and be able to hear about their budget, and have members of the community on their school board when they're down, help them find a member.
Do you have? Does the city have
I don't think we should push the
school directors for the elementary
And high school.
and the high school?
Yes.
Do they serve both positions?
No.
So you have different directors?
Junior
for
high
that?
is separate.
We have junior high, high school, and elementary.
Is the junior high out of here, or is the junior high out of Derby?
Yeah.
Every town that
Every
feeds
town has
into
a-
it has a representative,
Yeah.
has a board member.
So we have a board representative in Derby?
We don't.
At the elementary, not the elementary school,
No.
the junior high.
He's asking about
Do
the
you
high
have,
school.
you have a school board for,
So we, wait,
for the elementary school,
Elementary.
right?
the
So
high
that's
school,
K through 6.
The high school
the
one,
high school and the junior high are the same,
They might be the same
school
person.
board.
but he has to serve on both boards because
And
they're
do they
two
serve
separate
on the
boards.
SU too?
No.
No, well,
serves
some
the
do.
SU, some
They have their
Some-
own SU board.
They appoint,
Well, I mean, the city's part of the SU
Right.
totally,
Right.
so somebody amongst them must represent the city on the SU board.
I don't know about this.
The SU
I
board,
don't know.
not necessarily, they take, how does that work?
I don't
I gotta
know.
remember how that works. It's, the SU board is taken from members of the,
Of the, s-
The
School
high
board.
school board,
of the high,
they
well,
may
high school
appoint,
and junior high board.
yeah, they
and,
may appoint.
and I
somebody,
think
don't
there's representatives of the elementary schools on there too.
know. That I don't
And that makes up the supervisory board. Elementary, yeah, but not
Pretty
every
big
member,
board.
I think every town sends
And
one.
I don't think we need to control the supervisor.
No.
board,
No,
but
I
do
think we need
Or
to,
the high school, or the junior high school. But,
I think that in
Well,
our
it's-
charter, the school is part of our city.
Yeah.
And so by
You-
taking the
you
elementary
have-
school
have
totally
the
out,
elementary,
it's like you're,
but you have elected officials that serve junior high
Same
and the high
person.
school.
Same person.
serves on 2 boards, because I've done that, so. I
But
was
they're
a-
elect, so
I was.
they're part of elected officials for the city.
Yes.
And so, I guess the question is, who do you want filling vacancies? Is it the city council, in the same way we've got things drafted here, or do you want to move that over to the boards to fill their own positions?
Well, I think that they should try on their own, and if they can't find somebody, then the city council or the city then steps in to help. Somebody's got to handle it. Hi, Dennis. You're.
Hi, Jared. For you and Charlie, the vacancies, are those vacancies for specific towns? And do they have to replace those people to represent those specific towns? For instance, Barton would, for example, if we use Derby, for instance, if one of the vacancies represents the town of Derby, does that new representative also have to be the representative for the town of Derby?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we wouldn't have any say in who would be on the supervisory union or the school board, who would be representing Derby, unless you happen to know somebody in Derby that you might want to suggest to the union, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Okay, so I think that what we would have to do is get a hold of the supervisory union and see if they are bonding the members, the teachers, and whatever.
Not teachers.
And then, if they're not, that would probably have to fall, especially for the elementary school, that would have to fall on the city to bond.
Okay, can I?
Unless they're only being covered by the supervisory union bond.
So this is elected school board members.
Can I clear something up, and this is just ignorance on my part, but I need somebody to walk me through it, because I don't know how this school district works at all. According to the charter, there is a board of 5 school trustees.
5 trustees, yes.
Thanks for asking. I'm just as
So, okay, we're not talking about the supervisory, that's something else.
Right.
So, and we don't have control over that,
Correct.
because it's.
We're
multiple
talking just the
cities.
elementary school, within the boundaries of our city.
So,
Okay, so the high school is not either. So we're,
What?
But
but we do
you're talking
elect.
about elected officials. So if Newport elects people to the North Country Junior High Board, and they elect people to the high school board,
Yep.
then number one, who provides a bond for them? And then number 2, who's filling the vacancies?
Okay, so we've got several issues here, though.
So we need to find that
So
out.
that's all
So-
for all 3 boards.
when it says here that
What do
these
you,
are
what do you,
elected
says here, where, from where?
in our current charter.
Okay, our current charter, the high school was in Newport.
Right, but
There
it's
was
just
no
saying,
supervisory union.
Was there any update?
no, it still talks about Newport Academy and the graded school district. So that's what it says it covers, and I realize that it doesn't anymore. But when this was written, those were the entities.
Mhm.
There were 5 school trustees on the board,
3.
it says 5.
No, they're 5.
Well,
Originally
there were
was
3.
3, and then it went up.
It went up
It's
to
not on here, but
Okay.
if you would look at Jennifer's.
Okay, so so 3 or 5, but there was this board of school trustees, and they're elected by the city, right?
Correct.
They're not appointed by
No.
anybody, they're not appointed by the city council.
Elected by the people.
And now, only the grade school, is that right, or the middle school,
What?
is in this, is covered by this board of trustees that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, in this charter, because the supervisory didn't exist.
Well, just,
So-
but the supervisory, it doesn't sound like we have, the
We-
city council, because there'd be Derby members?
So
in it?
there are 11 schools who feed into our high school, and 11 towns that
Sure.
feed in, and each town
That's a representative.
has a representative elects
So
a board
those are
member.
probably
Newport
covered
has
under
2.
the incorporation of the SU.
Okay.
So they're not covered on, that's why there's nothing in the charter.
And there
that
couldn't
deals
be,
with-
right?
Right.
There couldn't be because we don't control like those
Right.
municipalities, like our charter has no way.
All we control
So
is
this is
we
only-
elect 2 members to represent the high school.
So this is only dealing with the elementary school period.
Right.
Yeah, except I can tell you from past history that, there was a resignation, it's the worst board I ever served on in my life, I'm going through that, of a city elected member to the North Country School Board, which we elect at the meeting.
Right.
When that person, that vacancy existed, I was appointed by the city council to fill that position. So somewhere, all we have to deal with for North Country, as far as I'm concerned, is if that person that is elected, there's a vacancy, who fills it?
Well, and
Right.
And
where's that?
I can tell you, last I knew, because I was appointed by the city council and I was to serve out a term. Go ahead. Jim.
They are their own entity, so it would be their rules. They might have it where the council or select board
Yeah.
can appoint a
Yeah.
missing member. So I think you just discard the high school and the junior high and deal with your local elementary school.
Yeah.
So this should be.
And then go back and pick up what you need, like you'll follow the supervisory union rules.
Yeah, if they have rules.
Well,
you
they
can,
got
so
to,
I
because
would think they
they're,
do.
they're huge.
So if Newport Elementary, however, is part of the supervisory unit.
Yes.
So
But they
how
are- but
do
they're-
we have
but they're their own
a
school
board
district.
and they have a board, where's the, like, the.
Because the supervisory board is district-wide. District-wide
Made up
policies.
of,
Yeah,
District-wide
many districts,
policies.
but the elementary schools can be part of the SU,
yeah.
or they can, and so in Coventry, we're part of the SU
For
up
the
to
elementary.
8th grade, but we have school choice on high school.
Are you, and you're part of the SU, right?
For K through.
K through eight.
K through 8, yeah.
Go ahead, Jim.
The Newport Elementary School trustees control the local school
Right.
within the oversee of the supervisory union. They're just one element.
Right.
But we still have control of our elementary
Correct.
school. We don't have any direct control except through representatives for the high school.
And the junior high.
Okay.
So
the
what's the
junior high.
chain of authority, I guess, is, who's in charge? Our board or the supervisory union?
I would assume the supervisory, right?
I think
Not
our
the
board, our
Well,
board
of the
can,
elementary and high school.
Elementary.
Should be us, I
Should be
think.
us,
Yeah.
the local, it's
within the
local.
auspices of the supervisory union. We can't, well, I guess we could go rogue and leave the supervisory union.
Yeah.
So can we even say that
Might
we
not
are,
be going rogue yet.
can we
Yeah,
even
we
say
could.
that we are in exclusive, that the exclusive management and control of the elementary school and all school property is vested in a board of 5 school trustees, when you're saying now that it's in control of the board of the 5, but also under the management of the SU?
But the SU is more, it's more the curriculum and,
That's management.
They're providing the administrative.
administrative
Support.
duties, the financial duties come out of central office.
So it's not exclusive anymore then?
No, because actually
No.
the hiring of the principal is done through the SU now, not through the school boards.
Yeah.
Principals?
Mhm.
Okay.
Not, okay, wait a second though. I'm not sure that's the way every school does it. We hired our own principal.
Well, yes, but they're under the control of the superintendent.
So
The
did the,
superintendent
It's-
is the boss of the school, of the principals, but it's the individual school
Mhm.
boards that hire their
Right,
principals.
yeah.
Because I've been on
Yeah.
way too many of those
Yeah,
committees.
but there's still, it used to be the school boards were the boss, and now that's gone to the superintendent.
And the superintendent or the assistant is at all the school board meetings.
Can I ask a few more questions, just to try to?
Just a second, though. I'm just trying to clarify my mind too. So we elect the school board.
Yes.
So the school board they do a budget, and they okay the day-to-day operations of the facility.
Well, the day-to-day operations are handled by the principal.
Principal, who,
And-
But
who I don't know who
Gets
hires the
direction.
principal.
we hired
Well,
the
the board-
principal
the
within
board
the city.
hired-
The
does the
school
hire.
board hired him,
Yeah,
And they hire the teachers too,
right?
but then the day-to-day is through the principal, and the superintendent oversees the principal.
Superintendent oversees the principal oversees the teachers.
And then it's the board that should ultimately oversee the superintendent and everything.
so as far as the day-to-day management of the school, the city of
It doesn't
Newport
matter. It's,
shouldn't be in, city of Newport doesn't do that.
No,
We-
it shouldn't be in the charter
But you
either.
you can put in here the exclusive management control, that first sentence is fine, the 5 school trustees.
But it isn't within the control of just the 5 school trustees if they're under the supervision of the SU.
Well, are they seeding, whatever powers the SU has,
Yeah.
is it seeded by that board? We're the board, it's our school, but we're gonna give you control over these things. Is that, because that makes it,
So,
that's a
so
difference.
the question is, let's say what Jennifer said, we want to go rogue and just say, you know what? We don't like the state of Vermont's rules and regulations.
well,
And,
no, you're not gonna get away from that.
Huh?
Not gonna happen.
no, but I mean, you're not subject, the supervisory rules and regulations.
Right.
We want to do it our own way because we think it's the more efficient, better way to do it. So you'd still have to deal with state law.
Right.
But let's say you wanted to do that for some reason. Or the city just said, you know what? There's a bunch of schools here, we're gonna allow, like Coventry does, school choice. Whose decision is it? The school boards or the cities?
Be the voters of the city
But who
who initiate.
initiates
Will
it?
be the school board.
So the city council doesn't have any say in,
They could probably provide input, but they wouldn't have.
they wouldn't have to. Okay, so we don't have a hell of a lot of power when it comes to the school, other than we can
Right.
require them to do a lot of stuff that's in here about providing annual statements and.
Right, yeah.
Well, I
And then
think
we
that's
have to
important
decide
because we're a team.
who appoints a vacancy
That's
in the
so-
school board.
Yeah.
Things like that have gotta be in here, but not the,
Right.
And Ann is right, the exclusive management, that is not the control of the school board,
not anymore.
not anymore. It might have
Supervisory.
been, but now that we're part of a supervisory union, that's how that works.
And I don't think.
But we are of the school property.
Of the middle school, or the elementary
Elementary.
school, yeah, the elementary school.
Right?
We own, the city
The
owns.
city of
property.
Newport owns the city.
So,
property.
but that might not always be the case, right?
Well, where UCA is now, we went through this with that when we moved out of there too. And when we sold the property to UCA, we had this big to-do as to, well, who can sell it, who really owns it. Remember all that? Yeah,
It was voted on, the voters of the city voted to sell it.
because the city owned it.
Who
It wasn't the
initiated the vote?
decision, the school board.
I wasn't there for that.
But, you know, that's what I'm
That-
saying.
This was an issue in Morgan,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
right,
right?
yeah.
When Morgan closed their school.
Right, town,
Trying to remember.
Holland School, we closed recently.
There was some
Holland also.
issue with the state on that too, because I think they utilized capital funds from the state. So the state had some tie into that.
So Holland, I know Holland ended up, the town owned their school.
Yeah.
When the school
I think like
closed.
most of the municipalities, the
They ended up
municipality
owning the
owned
school.
property.
Right. So somewhere in there, if we own the property, we have to have something.
But then the
in
big
charter, but I
to-do
don't know
was,
how much.
then the school had trouble getting insurance because nobody was going to insure this building that they didn't own. And so there was this, and so how that was all worked out was then the school leases the building from the city for $1 so that they can get their insurance.
And they're required to cover it,
Yeah,
insurance-wise,
yeah.
probably in that lease.
Why can't the school own that
Well, that's been the to-do. So, and part of this conversation was they just put a ton of money into their parking lot and it needed it, trust me, they needed it for most of the time I was there. The parking lot, they just did a new fire alarm system for the whole school this summer. These are summer projects, and then the roof has been a big issue. And so you're putting, the school board has funds for all of this,
Well, they can bond.
but it's their but they're doing it on this building, but do they own the building? You know, they're paying for it through their school budget, but it's really a city building, so there's it's kind of a convoluted, it was
Could
quite
they-
a conversation.
Could they cut out the middleman and just say, this relationship was fine for years, but it's not suiting us now, we're gonna build an elementary school in the pit. They build an elementary school right there, and they own it.
Well, this is
Then
pretty much
does
what
that-
happened, Travis.
Does our school just cease to exist?
Well, this is pretty much what happened when we sold UCA, where UCA is. That's what we did. We
So-
added on, we doubled the size of the school where it is now.
Yeah.
That used to be a little elementary
Yeah,
school
this was Lakeview.
that was hillside, and where you are is Lakeview. And then they decided as a city, instead of having 2 schools, that we went to, one building was K-3, the other building was 4-6. And then that got to be difficult, because whenever there was an issue at 4-6, the principal was always at K-3, always, it was nature of the beast. So then the voters, we went before the voters that we were going to close UCA, and close 4 through 6, and add on to our existing building, produce add over here. And that's kind of how it all came to be. But the ownership issue, it was an issue back then.
But what you're saying is you guys built a new school. I'm saying, could the SU, under its own authority as a separate entity, decide, we're gonna put an elementary school here?
No,
No,
that's a
that's
city,
the city.
it's the
Okay,
city, and the
okay.
voters of the city have to approve that.
Okay.
It has not, that kind of thing has nothing to do with the SU. The buildings have nothing to do with the SU.
Except the high school does.
But we're talking elementary
Yes,
school.
no, I know, I'm just trying to it's a convoluted relationship.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we have, at the time, we don't have the schools that they're talking about here. We don't have schools that we previously had under the jurisdiction of the 5 school trustees. As of right now, we just have the elementary school, singular one school.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's it.
Mhm.
Okay. And that could change in the future.
Yep. Good.
I mean, because it has, right?
It
I mean,
could,
it could.
sure.
I mean, I don't know.
There's a 3rd floor over at that school that's not being used, and it's there for growth.
Okay, but let's say that maybe at some point the SU does take it over or something, and, I mean, we just don't know, because they took over the high school, right?
No,
No.
Well, the high school is not under our jurisdiction, so something
It built
happened.
So back in the late 60s,
1968.
they decided that to create a supervisory union for the high school. And so that's when North Country was built. So that's all the town, every town had their own high school.
So but theoretically, something similar could happen for the elementary schools, theoretically.
Sure.
Well, isn't that what Act 6?
No,
That's consolidation.
yeah, but that's consolidating SUs and consolidating, probably regionalizing more high schools than it is. But it is regionalizing.
It's
But the
regionalizing,
state
yeah.
could- The
Regionalizing
state could say,
small.
okay, Derby's gonna join
Newport.
Newport, or.
It'd be like Region's
or-
gonna join North Country.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm
yeah,
talking
Danny, you're right.
elementary.
Sure.
You're right.
Yeah,
We
sure.
don't know what we
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
stranger
yeah.
things
And
have
the
happened.
only reason I'm asking is, I'm reading through what
Yeah,
is in
yeah.
the charter now, and I see, to my mind, very little that is actually applicable under the system that we have now.
I agree.
I
And,
agree.
and so, and the taxation part isn't applicable, we've already talked about that, because taxes are mandated and the budget and everything. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
they
one
come up
thing.
with a budget, but it's kind of just a nice to be able to see it. The state really mandates what it is, so that part doesn't really apply. And then the whole last few sentences of the charter really are just dealing with the consolidation of the Derby School and the Newport.
In 1918.
In 1918.
Clearly states it
Yeah.
right in there.
I mean, I'm open to somebody telling me I'm wrong, but I don't see, I'm not saying that, I guess I'm not saying that we shouldn't have anything about the schools in the charter. I don't really understand what we would put in the school because I just don't, it sounds like for the most part, the schools are kind of handled, but I don't see anything in the charter as it stands that is even true anymore. A.
Well,
B,
Well, except our city treasurer.
I also see that the charter proposal doesn't touch schools at all, and I think that's why you were saying I think it should.
Right.
So I guess I would just say if we're going to do something on the schools, and we want to leave schools in here, I think we strike through all this and we just write whatever we think the schools.
because one thing that is still happening is there's one tax bill, and on that tax bill is the line item for the schools. That's part of our grand total that we pay is city
But we
budget
don't-
and school, and that money is collected here through the city
By our
clerk's
city
office.
treasurer.
But that's
Jennifer,
covered.
enlighten us.
To expand upon that, there is a line in here that says that technically the trustees present their budget to the city council.
Yeah.
The council presents it to the taxpayers. So if the city budget in total goes down, there's no requirement for the trustees to lower what they put.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that is, so literally, you can't defund a school by not funding the city.
Right. Well, we
And you
vote
could-
separately on a school budget, correct?
Not on elementary.
Not the elementary. So
And that's-
whatever they present, we have to,
Yeah,
according to this charter,
yeah,
whatever they present, we have to write them a check.
yeah.
Well, wait a second, no, we vote
They
for
will-
the city,
they will
we
present a
vote for
budget.
the elementary budget. We do, we vote for the elementary
they're
budget as a
separate.
separate item, yes, we do.
Separate budget.
That's
Because
right,
it went
it is
down
now.
this year,
Yeah, yeah, it is separate.
Well, they do.
You're right.
Okay.
yeah, it went down.
Okay. But if it passes, so where you are correct. So if the city budget fails
Yeah.
and the school budget passes, we have to give them the whole thing. We can't try to get some money out of them
Right.
to
Yeah.
save our.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Before it was combined, yeah, but it's now
So,
separate.
but, so there is some connection there. So they use the treasurer, the bills that go out, and I don't know whether the school pays for that or not, but they should. Should be in the school budget,
So,
that percentage. So let's say that 30% of the treasurer and clerk's time is devoted to the schools. It should be in their budget, not in
That
the
would be
city.
nice.
It used to be, but then they took over all of the buildings, so I don't know if there is any
Who
charge.
took over all the buildings?
Supervisory union does, that's what April does.
Yeah.
Okay. So all we do is collect the money and give it to the supervisor?
Yeah, but I'm not sure that we don't get some level of reimbursement.
Collect the money, send it to the state.
Send it to the
and
state.
sends-
Dennis, do you have a comment on all this?
Yeah, regarding voting on the school budget, the elementary school budget, usually that's either article number 4 or number 5. It
Okay,
usually falls right after, like, the police department or whatever the,
4.
So the warning that goes out for vote is done by the treasurer's office,
Yeah.
or is it done by the
Yeah.
office? So there is some connectivity. So
Yeah.
that's really all I think we have to do is find out, what do we actually do for the school district? I don't know whether they pay for it or
so
It's, so I think.
They used to, but who knows now?
of the original charter, of what's the language in the original, starting at the Board of School Trustees shall make an annual report.
not. Yep,
Okay.
that's where I get.
And then
I don't
going
think that-
all the way down to the sentence that ends with, said warrant shall not require the approval of the city council. So I'm basically looking at the middle chunk here, because we've kind of determined that everything above that isn't really true as it stands, or is true with some tweaking, but the SU makes it a little more complicated. So the Board of School Trustees shall make an annual report of their doings and expenditures to the city council on or before the first day of February in each year for the last preceding fiscal school year. And in the report, they shall make estimates of the necessary expenditures for the support of schools for the ensuing fiscal year, the amount of school income to be derived from sources other than taxation, and the amount of money to be raised by taxation for the support of said schools, which report shall be published with the report of the city officials as herein provided. Is this true?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Is that happening?
it's true
It
and
happened.
happening. Okay,
Aaron came this year.
I'm
Yeah.
putting a check right
She
here.
came and she
Aaron
spoke.
Larson, the principal, came.
Yeah, she came and she spoke to us.
No, that's a him.
I'm sorry, he came and he spoke to us.
Yep.
But he did not tell us at that time
I know what you're gonna
the
say.
expenditures. He
Very
did not tell us.
He told us what was going on at the school. He didn't really get into the financial.
So I
piece of it.
don't know if we receive in writing a report that includes those items, and how much is derived from other sources, how much is derived from taxation,
I'll
and
also
how much
say,
expenditures.
and I'll also say though, shouldn't it be the board members doing this and not the principal?
It's, in here it says that the Board of School Trustees is doing it.
Well, it's their responsibility.
Well, I don't know if you receive a written report, I've never heard of it, and I don't remember seeing it published in the annual report.
Yeah,
But
that-
Dennis might know that,
It's in
or
there.
Well,
you,
okay,
Charles.
The
So-
school budget's not in this.
Oh, yes,
it
it's
I
used
don't
to
know,
be.
is it?
It's
It
in-
certainly
Sure
used to
it's in
be.
Then that would be covering it then.
Yeah,
Regardless of whether it happens, do we think it should happen?
yes.
If we can all agree on that this line, if we can all agree that this line should stay in,
Yep.
then I'll
So
check it off.
If you look, that's where I started my thing too.
Yes, it's here, Ann. It's right,
Huh?
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's here.
that's where I started also.
Yeah.
The
Okay,
rest of it's all.
Okay, hold on, I'm not with you, or you do it on here. Do it, feel free to take over here too.
okay. Well, so,
You're not talking to me, right?
yeah, no, we're talking to you. You're in charge now of all the typing. Okay,
Good luck
so
with that, you're gonna be here a few days.
I'm just gonna start highlighting what we wanna keep for now. So the Board of School Trustees makes an annual report, we love this, we think it's great, all the way down to herein provided.
Why did you give up on the at the annual meeting, a trustee shall be elected?
Well, I don't think she just hasn't gotten there yet.
No, that's above that. Or don't we still elect trustees?
Yeah, we can't, I was
At
just
the
gonna
annual
say.
meeting?
So the exclusive management and control of the public school. Exclusive management and control might not be happening of the public school, but the school property, so we have, so we do still elect a board of 5 trustees, and they are still in charge of the property of the building? Yes?
Well, and management, who elects a
Well,
principal?
it's dual management or partial management.
Well, and I think that we need to do a little due diligence and get a really clear understanding of this relationship. Because if these are, if it is the exclusive management of the schools by the school board, and then they carve out and cede a certain group of powers to the SU as part of being in that group, I think we should maybe outline that here. So that if it ever isn't part of the SU, you can take back those ceded powers and you have a full functioning
Well,
school
but then you
board.
also have state statutes for your for your schools too, right?
Between the board and AOE.
Who is on
Oh,
the school
AOE
board
too, that's
currently?
right.
Who is on the
Mary Ellen McClure is the, she was a special ed teacher there for years with me. She's the chairman. Mary Ellen Prairie is a member.
Rovers.
Betsy Daly is a school board member, and Carrie Ann Rovers is also a member, and she's getting done at the end of this year, from what I understand.
can
And then they're down one.
can we reach out and see if Wednesday, I mean, we only have 33 minutes left. Can we see if Wednesday, one of the current board members can come?
Yep.
and sit with
Or
us?
even Aaron, the principal, I think he.
Well, I think
he's
the
not-
board members would
Yeah, we
understand
do.
their roles better and what's vested in them, I would hope.
Who's the president?
Mary Ellen McClure.
She working?
No.
So that would be handy. And then we can.
Yeah,
get
we
some-
had actually talked about it.
Yeah, and I think.
I'm not sure we were thinking we were gonna actually get to this. Is this the last? It's
The
the
last
last
one,
thing.
yeah. Well, it's just so vague.
So this school district that we have now, is it a union, is it a unified union school
Yes.
district?
The supervisory, the high school
Yes.
is.
The high school,
The elementary
This
school
is,
is not.
it's a school district.
Right.
okay.
This is a
So
district.
the elementary school is not, what we understand is that it is not governed as a district.
Right, you have to live in Newport to go to that
It's a
school.
school district,
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not a unified
but it's not a
union school.
unified
Right.
district.
Okay.
But they are part of the SU.
Okay. So is it,
How do they become part of the issue? Is there an agreement? Is there?
That's a state thing, wasn't it?
State kind of forced it, Act 46 kind of forced it.
Well, that was
You're
long,
part
it was
of the
long
issue.
before
Right. Huh?
46.
It
It
was
Long
was before that, but
Long before that.
it got worse with Act 46.
Seems like, I think all of the schools are part of the SU,
Of AFU.
of an, yeah, elementary wise, and then I think you had school.
We're
you
even
could
part
either
of the
become-
SU.
Huh?
We are even part of the SU.
Yeah.
For services, right? Especially, yeah.
They provide you services?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, title services.
Medical services and
Yeah.
IEP services,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to. It's a federal, not a state
And
thing.
doesn't the state tell every one of the schools about equalized, what the equalized student rate is?
Yeah.
Isn't everybody included in that?
Well,
They're-
Oh, you might be.
well, I don't know.
Anyways.
No, because the equalize is, that's what you use to determine what the pupil cost is gonna be.
Yeah, per pupil
On
cost,
taxes, and
figured out.
they don't,
It's a contributed formula.
Yeah.
Adam, did you want to say?
Do you have any say-so over possible programs and curriculum?
That's SU,
No, so,
it's through the SU, it was usually a task. force.
unfortunately, no.
so, I know we're going.
I was
round
just
and
gonna
round.
suggest like getting all the paperwork together before they graduate, because now you gotta have proof of citizenship when you vote. So maybe before they, like,
That's a high school, yeah, high
Yeah,
school. We're
high
talking
school.
elementary school.
Yeah.
Okay, what might,
We don't
so,
have any control.
so I think this is a
Yeah,
good place to
I know
get
we're going
our,
round and round, but.
Jennifer
Yeah.
had something she wanted to add.
bring dodgeball back.
Under the budget, you've got reimbursement, city treasurer reimbursement, school, 7,500. So
Where's
that
that?
is what the city treasurer gets for doing anything for the school,
$7,500 a year?
7,500
A year?
a year.
but he doesn't do any of the payroll
Yeah, it
anymore.
doesn't do
He
anything.
doesn't do any of the
And
payroll.
you might check out the 22,000 hold harmless.
The what?
There's a whole, next reimbursement in that section is a hold harmless one, which I think is rather interesting if you're talking to.
That's in the school budget,
No, this is miscellaneous reimbursements.
in our income?
Yeah, in
The
the
city's
treasurer's
income?
office, yeah, general funds.
All right,
So
so,
talk to Jim a little bit.
So what are the things that we're looking for?
I think one of, I
In the
think
chart.
we need to state the number of school board members. I think we need to state something about, their bonding, since that's come up,
Mhm.
and the
So-
vacancy,
Yeah, so
how you
we're
deal with
talking about
vacancies.
the number of school board members.
Yeah,
That's fine, if you, I mean,
That's
how did
already
they
there.
move it from 3 to 5? Did they change the charter?
Yep, they
Yes,
voted.
yes, they did. Yeah.
Why is it not in the charter?
This is probably, I don't know why it wasn't, this is what's online.
I could
It
never
should
No,
have been-
understand
no,
it.
yeah, no, it's there until, yeah, it's in there.
Yeah, it says vested in 5 school board, the 3 incumbent. That section is talking about when it went from
Yeah.
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
45, yeah.
the 3 is in state statute.
Hmm?
State statute says that there should be 3. Each town school district shall have a board, shall have a
That's a
school
minimum.
board consisting of 3 directors.
That's minimum.
Yeah.
You can't go below 3,
Right.
No,
but you can go above.
yeah.
So they
And
have,
I'm guessing
We have
Burlington
5.
probably has more than 5. I would guess, Burlington.
Yep. Okay, so number of school board members,
yeah,
Yep, and vacancies,
how you deal with vacancies
yep, and property,
and property.
And I
bonding,
think that,
and reporting to the city.
yeah.
and I think that there should be enough meat in there that if it had to run itself, even though we don't, you know, on certain things, like curriculum. Yeah, I think that
That's,
we need to understand the relationship between the elementary school and the SU and how certain things have gotten placed in the hands of the SU so that if it ever needed to operate on its own, it's spelled out there.
but you don't have to spell it out in your charter. There's, that's through the Agency of Education.
In the board, state board.
State Board of
I don't
Education,
think-
the Agency of Education, they tell us, that dictates curriculum that you have to include.
Sure.
It also, they don't dictate what programs you have to use. And I don't think, I hope they never will, because it should be the needs within your districts.
Well, there may be some stuff on AI
Some stuff.
that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you know what, that being said, and I'll think out loud here,
So,
but we don't, again, things are changing. AI is changing everything.
you know,
So the Agency of Education is gonna have to step up in, I would think. It's not like it was when you're just,
we have very little control
Right.
of our school functions, curriculum, how you pay for it, what our actual budget is. The state, when we seceded our power to do all that to the state, because they promised us this was gonna be way more efficient,
Well, this is
save
because of the
everybody a ton of
Brigham-
money.
It was the
Our-
Brigham decision.
Our prices have gone from
The
The
here
Brigham decision.
to here.
Brigham decision?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Me neither.
That's
I'm gonna
back
find out.
when,
National,
the state, that it wasn't equalized. Some
all
towns,
right,
Stowe,
had better
if you
schools,
take
they
Stowe,
Oh,
they still
Stowe
do.
was always
They
a-
still do,
but
like-
what they're paying into a system, now it's socialized,
right,
so you could
so it
have,
doesn't
you
work.
could build a school in Coventry, and we're not gonna see our taxes go up, because all the money that's coming in from all the bigger schools is helping to pay for it.
Well, wasn't that part of the demise of Morgan?
Yes,
Okay?
and all.
They became a gold town,
Mhm.
and now they couldn't afford it,
Mhm.
so they closed.
Texas has one of those, they call it the Robin Hood Act, you know, take from the
Yep.
Yeah,
wealthy
That's a-
Yeah.
districts.
that's a better name.
And Morgan ended up on that list just because they had so many second homes,
Yeah,
on the lake. Not that yeah, that was sad.
yeah, they were sending a lot of their
A
money
lot of
into the
money had to
state to
leave
pay for
Morgan.
everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, education is a tough thing.
No,
I mean, in
yes.
Vermont, back before all this happened, we're third in the country, now we're like 34th or something. So whatever we're doing is not right, and they're trying to work it. I know that. It's a nightmare, right?
So,
Yeah, you
But
stayed
nobody-
off from that committee, Mike.
Smart enough to know where I should go. Well, actually, 22 years ago, it was the speaker that put me where I am now.
Oh, okay.
so this,
I was
just
waiting for you
smart
to be
enough-
on that
I
education
was just
committee.
smart enough to stay away from education.
So I guess we gotta decide what else needs to be in there, but that sentence that you
yeah.
highlighted
Highlighted,
probably should still
Sure.
stay in.
yeah.
And I know
For the most-
Sharon mentioned vacancies, and that
Yeah.
is also covered by state statute too.
For
So-
schools?
Yeah. So the number 5 seems to be the cap. The state statute says you can elect up to 2 additional members, the 3, but not more.
Okay, so
than
5's the most.
Yeah, 3's the minimum, 5's the maximum. That's the state says that.
North Country has 17.
Well, that's SU though.
That's an
That's
SU.
you.
This is for town. So
And
this
see,
is just
we
the
do
elementary
elect two.
school.
I thought the number of officials that go to the high school board is based on town
It is.
population.
It is,
But
yeah.
that's in their incorporation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
So
different, that's handled
That's out
differently.
of, we don't need to worry about that.
I'm just looking at town
So
schools.
what does it say about vacancies?
Except as otherwise provided for a school district operating under a charter, so we do have the ability to change this if we don't like it. But if we like it, we don't have to do anything because it's already covered. Within 30 days of the creation of the vacancy, the school board shall, by majority vote of those present and voting, appoint a qualified person to fill a vacancy in the town school board or vacancy in the position of town school district treasurer in towns in which the town school district treasurer is elected separately from the town treasurer until an election at a special or annual meeting is held. A record thereof shall be made in the office of the town clerk. B, if there are vacancies in a majority of the members of the town school board at the same time, the vacancies shall be filled by a special school district meeting called for that purpose. The remaining board member or members are authorized to draw orders for payment of continuing obligations and necessary expenses until a majority of the vacancies are filled. C, if there are no town school board members in office, the Secretary of State shall call a special election to fill any vacancies, and for that interim shall appoint and authorize the town school district clerk or other qualified persons to draw orders for payment of continuing obligations and necessary expenses until a majority of the vacancies are filled.
So as a city, we really let the ball go.
Doesn't sound like the council has any role, or that the city has any role in that.
Well, the city does, because this is absent of a charter.
Well,
So,
We could put, the school board must fill a vacancy within 30 days, or the city council shall appoint. I mean, you could do
In-
something like that in
in-
your charter, right?
yeah. And
In
if
our
we don't- if we don't do
current
that-
charter, guys, section 8, the city council may fill vacancies in elective city offices, including the board of school trustees, until the next annual
Right.
meeting.
Did we keep that in?
That's in
When we
8.
did it.
I don't know.
Well, do you want to do it if the school board has enough members?
No.
This would
I want to do it if
This
they
is
fail.
vacancy.
well, I think
Fill
it's highlighted
vacancies.
in blue because we have to determine.
Oh, we got it all highlighted, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we kicked that can, don't
Right.
we?
We did.
Yeah,
So we need to think about that.
exactly.
So our current situation, they haven't bothered to fill it. They certainly haven't done it within 30 days.
And we as a city council haven't done it either.
Well, it's up to the council right now.
Yeah.
It does, but the
Right.
council hasn't done it because nobody realized they had that problem until we started looking at this. So the question is, do we want to keep that?
I think you have to.
I think it's a great
I
idea.
think you have to.
That if the school board's not doing their job, then the council is.
Well, right now, it's not up to the school board. It's up to the council.
Per the
Right,
charter.
according to the
Charter,
state.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Yep, right now, it's up to the school.
But apparently, we haven't been
We
doing
haven't been
it.
doing it.
We've been allowing the school board to do it, and if you're gonna
And
have
they're not
somebody
doing
come in on Wednesday, you might find out whether or not they would really be adverse to having the council do it.
Mhm.
And you don't want to start a squabble unless you really want to start that squabble with them.
It's been a while since I had my last call.
Yeah, so this section 8 just says, it doesn't say initially that you appoint them. But it says the city council may fill vacancies, including the school board, until the next
Right.
annual meeting.
But
So,
it doesn't give,
So does the petitioning
but
thing,
it doesn't give the school board the authority to do it. Or would they fall under statute if the city does it? I think
yeah,
I
it's,
think
it
in
needs to be
this
spelled
document,
out.
it should be spelled out
I
who's
agree.
doing what.
I agree. So that's,
Who's doing what?
I
Yeah.
think it's an ambiguity. It's like, does the council fill it? If they don't fill it, then what do we do?
right. That's why I said, you know, so, the school board is, you could put in there, the school board shall fill their vacancy within 30 days or whatever you,
At which
Right.
point the city council.
Here.
if
I'll-
they fail to do so, the
You
city
added some of
council
these words
may
in?
appoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
The city
Add
council
them in
can
green
appoint.
or something.
So it gives
So
you,
we know.
so the situation we have now, where they're not advertising for it, they're not attempting to fill it,
Right.
and
And they may not be doing it.
technically,
because they
we could, the city council could fill it
And that is till the end of the term.
to the end, to fill their term, yeah.
fill that term,
That's
then
right.
it gets elected.
So you're throwing it back in their lap, which the school boards wanted anyway. They
Sure.
didn't want the
Yeah.
town select boards or councils doing
Yeah,
it.
so if you don't, then fill your position.
If you don't do it, we're gonna do
We're good. Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
I think that's the way it's always been.
it. But it's not really spelled out well.
It's not.
No.
But
We
we,
should
and we
spell it.
haven't been doing it.
So
The
the
city,
town-
the council
I'm
hasn't
talking
been
like
doing it.
years ago.
So the towns,
I'm saying years ago, it was
Okay.
done that way.
the
Yeah, go ahead.
townspeople elect them,
Yes,
but if there's a vacancy, the board can just appoint until the next election.
yeah.
Right.
In the past, like notices
The
have
school
gone home
board.
with the kids saying
The
there's an
school
opening.
board can
here to-
appoint
if
a
you're
vacancy,
interested.
but if they fail to
Contact
do
the
it,
board.
give them a
They've sent it
timeline.
home with the kids,
And there's no
saying
check
there's,
on
if
it.
you're
Like there
interested,
is
they
with a
make
council
personal phone
person.
calls, I don't know what they've
You
done
can
this.
appoint and they
this time.
can raise a petition if they want, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you should be seeing something on the internet, should be something in the papers,
Yeah, on their website.
on their
Yeah,
website.
they should be advertising
Sure.
for it, absolutely, and they're not. And I don't know why.
where does that board meet?
At the school, in the library.
Or on a retreat.
Is it a
They've
public
gone on a
meeting?
I don't know,
retreat.
I don't know.
Their public meeting term.
Well,
Yeah,
Yes.
I would
Yeah.
imagine so. I don't know if they want.
I went to their, when their
Yeah,
budget
that
went
was
down,
supposed
I
to.
went to the information meeting on it, and I was the only person who was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who decides maintenance on the buildings?
The
Yeah.
well, that's part of this
That's a
conversation
good,
too.
that's a good question.
Let's add that
Yeah,
down. So it's
so-
building ownership and upkeep,
Yeah,
and they just are putting a ton of money into that building this year,
Well,
this summer.
property, because like the parking lot, that's.
I would get a copy if somebody can do that of the lease
Yeah, 'cause
with the
question
school
would
right
be-
now, because it should be their responsibility.
Well,
We'll lease it to them for $1, but you have to keep up with it.
but do they have to get permission from the council to
They don't,
anything that they
they
do?
don't right now, no.
Some things are fine, holding the roof.
And we want them keeping up
We
with
want them
everything.
to keep it up.
But what if
It
they
should
change
be-
something drastically?
Huh?
Well, the thing is, what if they change something drastically? We're gonna renovate it and do X.
Well,
Y,
they're
Z.
only gonna do that if they have the money to do it, and trust me,
Yeah.
Well, like they put the addition on, I mean, that went to bond vote,
yeah.
Yeah, that was bond vote.
but how did that, if the city owned the property, how did they get the bond on it?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I remember when it happened, but,
it's been really vague,
yeah.
so I think we should clean some of that up.
Okay.
But we can solve our portion of
Yeah.
it, just by saying, we shall lease.
So what do we need before our next meeting to answer these questions?
Mr. Gore.
Copy of
I will
the
do that.
building lease that they have
That
now.
would be nice.
To find out if the supervisory district bonds those.
Or are they bonded, are they
Are they
bonded?
bonded, yeah.
Okay.
Are they
Who
bonded?
provides bonds for them?
Who
Right.
provides it?
And I don't know about anything else, they're gonna have to report to the city, but that should just be in there. And that's about all we have to do with the school.
Well, you talked about, the money going out from the treasury. I thought,
Well,
I'm
the roll-
confused about who it goes to. I thought we didn't send it directly to the state. I thought we sent it, to the individual schools
It might
per
go-
school, I'm sorry, per
What?
state order.
Why don't we check with Jim and say, okay,
Yeah,
how's the money
kind of
handled
funny
and
how
who do you
that,
send it
I
to?
mean, there's gotta be money that
He'll
flows
know.
into the state in order for them to pay out to the
Yeah.
schools.
Well, I thought it went directly, and the state told us to take a portion of it and send it to this school and a portion to that school. Because I originally thought the state, and then somebody told me, no, it goes directly to the school, so that should be clarified.
Should there be, so you said there's $7,500
Yeah,
now. So how did they arrive at that figure? Should something in the charter be, the
it's
school?
the same figure throughout, the prior budget and future budgets, it's just sort of a straight line.
Flat line, so
Yeah,
it's been
flat line for
7,500,
3
like,
years, yeah.
kind of like council salaries for the.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but what do we have in the treasurer?
But why do we
What
do
is-
that?
what
We're
is
all the
treasurer for
same,
that?
we're all the same city, we're all the same tax base.
Because they're different budgets. The same thing with why you're billing water and sewer.
Yeah.
That's a different fund, the school fund is a different fund.
And so our city clerk and treasurer isn't all-inclusive of all city, we have to have a line item to show
Yeah.
what we're paying them?
And in this case, before it used to all be paid downstairs, then the school hired their own people. So now we transfer the money. But for doing the billing, obviously, we get the 7,500.
Yeah, to provide the
That's a
report,
part
and
of it.
the
Yeah.
annual report, right?
Yeah, but the school takes care of everything. It said, you know, the exclusive management control of the school and school property is with the school board. Now, it fully is. We transfer the funds.
So we used to employ I don't know, accountant, is that the right, was she an accountant?
Yeah,
We used to employ one right after school,
Yeah.
but now we don't, and we
Yeah.
just use the services of the
Supervisory
supervisory union.
union.
because you've
That's
delegated that.
Andrew's wife is
Yeah.
in charge of all of
Yeah.
that.
Right.
She's
And
done
it
a
used
good
to
job.
be Charlie Blake did all of the bills.
Yeah.
Then it went potentially either, probably instantly to the supervisory union.
Who signs their paycheck, this teacher's paycheck
It,
now?
it would be, the money all goes through the school. The city is only handling, you know, putting the money to the supervisory union.
So who's cutting the check, who's cutting their?
Supervisory union, whoever is
It's
signs
always
checks for
Jim's
April.
son.
Hmm?
It's always Jim's signature on my checks, always.
Another question for Jim.
Yeah.
They don't do the payroll downstairs, I do know that. But I don't know whether they would,
I'm sure he doesn't hand sign it, so I'm sure.
yeah, no,
Well-
everything's
No, it's
rubber stamped.
But it was
Yeah.
But
always his name.
when was the last time you worked for the school district?
Not to, 2018, 18, 19, somewhere there. Right before
So
COVID.
the only thing that I can see in
I don't
the
know.
city budget is $7,500 reimbursement.
Yeah.
And, but how did they come up with that figure, and is that, I mean, maybe we ought to address that.
He probably
So-
just took a percentage of his time, I spend this much time on school
No.
stuff. and-
So the only difference that would matter, because you're right, we're all part of the same
Same.
thing, but who's responsible tax-wise? And so the city has to raise its budget all the time. If the cost for doing business for the school is going up all the time, and we're only getting $7,500, and have been for the last 20 years, and that cost is now more than that, shouldn't it be reflected in the school budget instead of the city budget? So, and it is all the same pot, but whose responsibility for setting that
But I
budget
think
amount?
it sounds like over the years, the responsibility of the city treasurer has gone down.
It's probably quite a bit
Yeah.
less.
And
But that's why I said
where
somebody,
it's
we
gone
ought to
up
talk
with
to
the
Jim
SU.
about, what do you do for the school and how's the money?
Okay, so can we delegate who, we only have a day here. I will definitely call Mary Ellen to come visit, to attend if she's able to. And if she can't, maybe Aaron can, or Elaine, somebody who can answer our questions. That's the important part, right?
Yeah.
We'll start with
Or-
Mary
and
Ellen.
what are they thinking as far as appointing vacancies? And it'd be interesting just to hear what their thoughts are.
And why they haven't, you know, I mean, we don't want to be scolding them.
Maybe they don't know that they can.
Oh, they know.
How they- But I think the building ownership has to be addressed somehow or other. And I don't know about the treasurer part.
Okay, well,
Should
I
we
can
do
also
something?
tell you that,
Other than that, I don't see what we have to.
hold on, Aaron said, VLCT, clarify ownership and deeding the property. Charter change for property transfer, shifting ownership. They have an attorney, Sean, Toohey, who has done a lot of work on this. He's the city's treasurer, he's their attorney for something.
So is the city in the process right now of deeding it to the school?
I don't know, I don't know.
one day to find out.
We got one day.
Well,
It's a big asset.
no matter what
You can get
happens,
hold of John
it
and
still has to
say,
go before the voters.
Maybe he's around.
if he's
He's not
around.
always around, because his daughter's not, she lives down in Waitsfield.
You know when the meeting for the homeless thing is happening?
Okay.
I can go talk to Jim.
You'll talk
About
to Jim, I'll talk to
what's
Mary
going on.
Ellen at the school. Who would know about the deeding the property, and clarifying ownership? I'll call John.
Well, if John's been working on it, it's not reinvent the wheel if they're already in, if it's in the works to do that.
Yeah,
I mean, I would think the city would have to vote to transfer the ownership. At some
Selling an
point.
asset.
Huh?
It's
Yeah.
selling
It's
an
an
asset.
asset, yeah.
A huge asset.
Yeah.
And then there's, the bonding,
Yeah.
insurance and all that kind of stuff.
Mary Ellen maybe can answer.
She probably can answer all that. I'm not gonna do it. Something else that's sticking in my head.
Yeah, since we shut that window.
Went like this,
Uh,
in and out.
Yeah, okay, let's,
I think we're done now.
let's, adjourn this meeting for today, and we'll be back here Wednesday. And our job on Wednesday is to look at section 39.
No, our job is to finish.
Finish 39, and let's try, and then we need to go back through and we need to address the issues that are highlighted on there.
And we're,
And then
I
we'll
mean,
say
we're getting
iron
really
down
close
next
to
week.
being,
Yeah, we're close to done in presenting, and I will, I'll work today and tomorrow too on all the changes or the updates we've made, putting them all together as one without the strike-throughs there, so we can look at the work we've done. I mean, we'll have two documents. I'll have another document of just the work we've done. Would that be helpful? Or do you want it with all the strike-throughs we've done?
Without, I mean, with, excuse me, I'd like to see it with
With?
the strike taken out.
With the strikes taken out, so it's just the
Yeah.
charter that would
Just how it's
appear
gonna read.
online eventually.
because that's
Just
what
how
we're
it's
gonna
gonna
vote,
be.
that's
There's
what
still
we're,
gonna be some
that's,
snippets.
eventually, that's what
Yeah, I
they're
know
gonna
there is,
vote.
that's where I think is the best way to start, right?
Because we can't put it in there, we gotta vote on it. We can put all the information online, so people have access to the one with the strikeout, we ought to keep that. We ought to keep the one that's a strikeout with the changes, so that if somebody, when they're deciding on whether to vote
Well, I
for
wanna
it or
print
not,
it out so.
can go in and
guys
see
have it
that,
and see
but
what-
we're also gonna have a document that doesn't have that to send to the legislature to vote on.
No, we have to have the
I think
strike-throughs to vote for.
reverse.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, that's what they
The
want.
whole point of the strike-throughs is because the legislator wanna see that, like the legislation requires it.
So then instead of taking out all the strike-throughs, I might as well just have it all there.
You should do the complete with all the strike-throughs and then save that and then do a clean copy and remove all the strike-throughs.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Have to go
saying.
through twice.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
But-
the only way to
The
really.
nice-
but when we present it to the
Community,
community, it's gonna have to have all the strikethroughs.
Yeah,
yeah, so
But
they can
do
see.
Yeah,
you think
show
we
the
need a
strikeout.
clean copy?
Yeah, so they can see.
Because that will allow us to go through and
Well,
easily see if we've missed or
Or
something.
doubled
does-
up on
Yeah,
stuff,
or if
yeah.
something doesn't agree with
Yeah.
something else.
Try
Yeah,
to have that for Wednesday.
I
Yeah.
think we need both of them, but.
yeah.
I'll work
Yeah.
on it. My husband will work it today.
Just a question.
for you
Since
or
we've
for
been-
someone else.
Since we've been doing this, I haven't seen any press at all.
No.
Has the press been notified? I mean, we're going
They're
through,
warned.
we're putting a lot of work into this, and
Yeah,
there's nothing being reported on it.
yeah,
And then, it comes to the council and then everybody flies off. And this has been an extremely transparent process
yeah.
of how we're getting here. And I'm just wondering if anyone's actually notified the press that.
Channel 5 was at the waterfront today.
They're not here.
That-
But it's more of our local
This goes
press.
out, I mean,
Is
this is
it
gonna be on
This is
YouTube.
on, and people are watching it.
How many?
Well, you're
Some are, I've had a few comments.
I've had a few.
Yeah, but
not
I
a
mean,
lot.
you know, Newport Daily, the Chronicle, what about Newport Dispatch? I mean, those are our locals that,
Are we at that point? Do we,
well, I think we,
we're
they
definitely.
should
at
be,
that.
they should know that this process is going on. Just,
I can,
I just worry that
We're gonna be accused of being not
not
transparent.
transparent, yeah.
You know what I'll do? I'll call Tabitha. I'm not calling Joe Gresser. I'm just not.
Okay,
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
let's adjourn.
I'll call
And we
Tabitha
will
and,
meet again on
advise her.
Wednesday, is that okay?
yeah, oh, one other,
Oh, wait.
quick.
Yep.
Should we go through this document and see if there's anything in there that they included that wasn't in the charter that we might want to include? And I don't know if there is.
Well, I have,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I
No, that
gave,
makes sense too.
we have this here.
No, but I mean, just read through it and say, yeah, this should be in here, this shouldn't.
The other thing we.
I don't know if there was anything.
Well,
in
that would be helpful, that's why if we have a just our work,
Yeah.
clean copy, that will make that a whole lot easier.
Yeah, okay.
So let me try and get that
Just do
done
that
today.
after.
You said you were going to cover the purchase of property in terms of,
Yeah, we did.
voters voting on it. You covered the sale of property and voters voting on that, but nobody ever covered the purchase of real property. And whether or
Well,
not-
we've restricted it to 1 year without voters. So they would have to be able to purchase and pay for it within their budget year. So
You think that it's covered in that?
Well, I mean,
How could,
they can't
how
do
could
it.
you purchase
They
it?
can't purchase it unless we vote on it. Where in the failed charter, they could do it.
Okay.
So we've eliminated that section.
I'll look
Oh,
at it.
yeah, look at it.
So that's,
Because I think by eliminating it, and the state statute, that's why I said that section 24 BSA allows them to purchase property also. But if we,
Without voter approval?
yeah, but we
Do we want that?
excluded that, no.
Okay.
No, but they can't purchase it, they can go out and buy a corner of a building as long as they can pay for it in the current budget. Anything over that, they can't do without, if we,
okay,
right?
but having a clean copy will help us to go through
So
and
we'll
find.
take a look at that, keep that in the back of your head.
Think about that.
I will too. Huh?
Well, you gotta think about that too, because you can move money around in the budget. You're not, as a council, you're not required to spend it.
No, I mean, you
On
could
an
buy
election.
$100,000 piece of property, but you couldn't buy $1 million piece of
No.
property. That's what I mean.
Do you want that? The question is, do you want that?
No. Or do you want them to be able to?
Yeah.
Hell
So on
I think
Wednesday,
that's what Ian's asking.
All right,
Yeah.
Dennis, do you have any parting words for us?
no.
No, as long as we have all that information, we'll try to get as much of it by Wednesday as we can, that'd be great.
Yeah, and then we'll be just
So,
going through and fine tuning.
Keep that in mind, but
You
I
dealt
think,
with sales, but you didn't deal with buying.
we dealt with any purchase that they can't buy within the
We dealt
current
with
budget.
debt. They
Can
can't
I-
assume any.
They can't
debt
assume
without
any debt,
budget.
so they can't purchase anything.
can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
So we are gonna try to get a cleaned up version by
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
And on Wednesday, we're gonna, sounds like have some people coming to talk to us about the school. We're gonna be focusing on getting the school stuff
Yep.
finished. If at that time you bring cleaned up versions that the public can have as well, then between Wednesday and the Monday meeting, can we all agree to look at what the cleaned up one says and think about things that are missing, plus look at the new, and maybe when you talk to the newspaper, let them know that we're kind of at the part where we're trying to think of things that
We're
need to.
getting close to
Yeah.
finalizing.
And so if people
We haven't seen
have.
anybody from the press.
Right, and if
Yeah.
anybody has any ideas, they can bring
Yeah.
that maybe Monday.
And somebody wanna talk to Joe Gresser, because it's not gonna be me.
I'm away next week, out of town, Monday and Wednesday.
Huh?
She's away Monday and Wednesday, next week.
So you gotta run the show.
Okay.
Danny's got,
But you're gonna
She's
get
good.
somebody from the school board in here?
Well, that's Wednesday.
that's this one.
Oh, that's this
It's
one.
next week.
Well, maybe we'll be done.
That's what I'm hoping. We're close to it. I hope to come back from this vacation and you guys are gonna say,
We're all done. Well, that's what I was hoping to, it didn't work. So,
No.
just so you know.
Bye, Dennis.
Motion to adjourn?
So-
Adjourn. So moved.